On this episode of Kilts and Culture with USA Kilts, we answer your questions, and we're trying Highland Park Magnus! Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to USA Kilts, or welcome to Kilts and Culture with USA Kilts. I'm Rocky, and this is Erik. Today, we have a very special treat, a gift from a customer. Michael Sinclair, very, very nice customer, bought us a bottle of Highland Park. So in his honor, although he's not dead, he's currently alive, in his honor, we are drinking this and testing Highland Park Magnus.
Magnus. You can honor somebody even if they're not dead.
That's fair. That's fair. I just didn't want to give the,
Yep.
yeah, rest his soul.
It's not like we said in the loving memory of.
Yes, exactly. Okay. And to drink the Highland Park Magnus, the highly coveted, the much sought after, the USA Kilts Glengarry glasses. One for me, one for you, and
we got one for Mac.
one for Mr. Mac, who will come get his momentarily.
Go
All right,
get it.
Highland Park Magnus, single malt Scotch whiskey, 40%. Yes, unapologetically bold, smoky, and undeniably Orkneydian. Orcadian? Or Canadian?
Yeah.
Or Canadian. Yes.
Or Canadian, eh?
Or Canadian. Yes. Blah, 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 blah.
They're located in the Orkneys. I think, Mac, we had some notes on them, right?
Yeah, we've got a few here. The
Multiple?
Sure. Do you do
they
that?
stay true to their founder's
No.
bold and uncompromising approach to whiskey making.
Okay.
Little has changed over the last 220 years in Magnus. They celebrate the unbroken tradition with a single malt whiskey
More or less.
matured
That's
in
fine.
sherry seasoned oak cast. So it has notes of sweet vanilla overlaid with distinct words. Can't
Orangutan?
Sweet orangutan.
aromatic smokiness.
All right, Mac, would you like to come and collect your aromatic smokiness?
Yeah, Magnus is the name of the guy who founded the distillery,
Yes.
right? Like, it's in the 18th century.
Yes.
So the Highland Park, it's funny because you would think that they would have thought of a different name if they had been aware of how their marketing was going to go
Yeah.
200 years ago.
Yeah.
Because Highland Park does not scream the Orkneys to me at all.
Do we want to try it without water first and then with water to open it up, or do you want to just do both?
I
don't care either way. You can't unwater it.
Yeah, I'm used to watering, but we
Can
can,
you
we can do it straight.
Empty it and then.
You mean
pull
like
more.
Derek at the
Yeah.
festival?
Oh.
I heard about that.
One of our new employees. We poured nice glass of scotch for him at a festival this past weekend, and he just shot it. And I was just, get out.
He will never live it down.
No.
Never.
If he's gonna do that, he gets like Cuddy Sark or something like.
Oh,
We're gonna give him crap.
I don't
next
have to
time.
go that far. Okay.
All right.
Were we supposed to be picking up on
I'm
this?
smelling it. I smell sweet. I get the honey. I don't really get any smoke in it.
Well, it did say sweet vanilla.
Sweet vanilla.
Yeah, I smell
Mhm.
alcohol. All right, Cilantro.
Sandra.
I get a little bit of the peatiness, like charcoaly kind of burned down house flavor.
It's not nearly as peaty as.
No,
Yeah.
not nearly. No,
Yeah, it's not a.
I just get a hint
It's not
of
an
it.
Isla.
Yeah, it's no. I just get a hit of it. But compared to we did another test of regular Highland Park with the 12, was it?
Yeah, 12
I
year.
believe so, yeah.
And that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
It was
good.
it was intensely balanced was the tagline.
Mhm.
And I actually agree with it.
Intensely balanced.
Yes. It's like angry yoga. It's,
Yeah.
it's the angry Buddha. It's but yeah, it's that one. I got a lot more, bold honey as well as bold smoke kind of flavors on this. Not nearly as much. Yeah, I just get like a lot of alcohol scent.
Definitely getting the honey.
Mm-hmm.
There's like I thought there was a berry. There was supposed to be a berry flavor in this too.
Is it raspberry, Mac? What berries do we got? He's doing his job and reading comments. We're distracting him with
lemon.
drinking.
Okay, flavors: lemon,
Okay.
vanilla sponge cake,
What?
caramelized pineapple, sweet violets.
Sweet violets. That's what I remember. I remember that from when I read
violets.
That description leads me to sweet violence. That is BS.
it. Well, that's very Viking.
Fair.
Sweet violence.
yeah.
I was going the other route.
Sure as hell beats it's sweet violence.
It reminds me of my sweet violet, who I left behind in Georgia many, many years ago.
I don't know.
Well, it's worth knowing. I think this is also one of their lower end ones, or is it? I don't know.
Okay.
It's $40 a bottle ish in the U.S., but these prices fluctuate.
Depends on the company too.
Yeah, it really depends on what they're aiming for or who they're aiming at. I mean, I will say all their packaging is gorgeous, and I was looking at their full range, and they have like there's like a 100-year-old or something like that.
50-year-old.
50-year-old, and it was like 1,000 pounds for the bottle.
That's not inexpensive. That's actually cheap for it. I thought you said it was a lot more than that.
It was okay. It might have been like
1,000 pounds for a
maybe
bottle.
it was more like 1,700 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
generally anything like that kind of age, 50, 60 years, is going to be 15 to 5, somewhere in there. Grand. I didn't get to see the box.
A little
for
bit of
this.
water. A little bit of water helps.
Makes it almost into like a cocktail where it's you can drink a little bit more of it at the same time. It's not like it's like a light, refreshing cocktail. Scotch and water. I don't know.
There are cocktail recipes that call for scotch, and you don't use good scotch for those.
Yeah, fair.
No.
What do you think about it, Mac?
No, I was gonna say I taste more Snapdragon than Violet, but like I was gonna go a different route. With...
Or maybe Marigold.
We almost had to clean off the camera. I almost sprayed right there.
That
was
great.
spectacular. What do you think, Mike? It's good. It's good stuff. Smooth. My asthma loves it.
It's not quite as smoky as Jason's barbecue that he provides us, but
No, it's nowhere near.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Kind of disappointed.
I'm not. Yeah, not to
The
not to
first
look
one-
a gift scotch in the mouth.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
no slight on
No.
you, but
No, Mike did a great thing.
it was really,
if anyone
really lovely.
wants to give us scotch, we promise we will give you our honest opinion and drink it.
Well, they're already chipping in to get me a Sheriff Muir, so
Fair enough.
We
Yes,
don't
the
wanna
purple
push
one.
it, but-
Yes.
yep.
The,
But yeah, it's kind of.
I was thinking it was going to be
complex.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be
Kinda flat.
something similar, or a little bit of a different angle from the 12-year.
Yeah, no, the 12-year was much more, had a lot more going for it, I think.
I'll say this: it feels more generic. If you have like a generic-ish kind of scotch, like okay,
Yeah,
we need scotch for the party. Like, what does everyone not mind? It's like it's the bud of scotch.
oof, wow,
It's in the middle.
that's really harsh.
Well,
but-
there. Maybe I don't mean to be quite that harsh. It's like I don't want to say it's lager because I like lager.
And see, I will always, I'll denigrate myself as a taster because I don't think I have a very great palate necessarily.
I need to give
Especially
it
have a
another
little bit of a cold, but it's like I don't know how people pick up on some of these aromas and flavors and stuff. And I also, but sometimes I think it's a cop out. Like, how many times have you read a description of something and it says chocolate notes?
Yeah,
it's like, come on, it's like every other
vanilla sponge cake.
vanilla. Yeah, exactly, vanilla. Well, but vanilla is another generic flavor note that people say
but
that's
to
in
narrow
something.
it to
But
sponge cake.
sponge cake,
It's a
yeah.
very specific flavor profile for vanilla. It's so bad I'm gonna have some more.
Oh, it's gonna be a good
It's
show.
gonna be a long episode, boys and girls. It's been a long week. We have our party coming up next weekend, so it's a lot of stress.
Yeah, but good stuff too. Good
Yes.
stuff too. We have a new hire.
Yes.
Coraline, who in the fullness of time you guys will meet. So we have yet another person on the tech crew here, which is making things even cooler for the content. So that's good.
Yeah, she did a great job with. We did a couple interviews recently with bands, and she's been editing those and did a very good job.
Mm-hmm.
Much better than Erik or I could have done for editing stuff down. So yeah, I'm psyched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More
So
to come.
expect great things.
Mhm.
So I'm setting the bar for you there.
There you go.
So meet that. Just go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
Do good.
Very well said.
All right, Mac.
Yep.
Last,
Any
you have
other
your last
last
sip.
thoughts?
Are you good? Are you
I'm good for right now.
okay?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, not super complex.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it.
It's a little bit. I won't say it's harsh, but it's a little more. It's a little bit more harsh than I'm used to. But I'm used to like Lagavulin and
I just say flat.
middle to high-ish stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's to me just the impression was flat.
Yeah.
I feel like I got some of the aromatics when I started, but after my second sip, it was just like it was gone. You know.
yeah.
It's kind of like it was
Yeah, it's
much promised, but
okay.
little delivered.
It's I'd say this. It's a $40 scotch.
Mhm. Yeah.
If it were me, I'd rather pay the extra $20 and get something better.
Mhm.
But for $40, it's better than the McClellan's, which is crap. Like the $25 scotch. So this is
Yeah.
definitely worth the $15
yeah,
above that.
Yep.
So it's priced appropriately.
it's got cool dragons on it.
Yeah. Oh, the marketing on it's good.
The marketing is fantastic.
Well,
Yeah.
no. I'll say this: the bottle is cheaper. Notice it's a sticker on there. It's not the etched or whatever it was on
So
the other
would
one.
we call this like an entry level scotch, maybe? I don't know, because I worry about that because you don't want somebody to have a what you consider to be a not very interesting scotch for the first one, and then they get turned off of trying other scotches. It's like, do you start off somebody who's new
Yeah.
with something that's really good, or something that's kind of or somewhere in the middle?
I don't know. I'm just getting the burniness right now,
Yeah,
like indigestion kind
yeah,
of
a
thing
little
from it.
bitter. Well,
Yeah.
you're also drinking coffee. and
Not
taking-
yet. Not yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna drink
I'm
coffee.
just looking at the coffee and the breath mints over there, and just
Delicious.
hmm
Okay, Mac. Scale of 1 to 10. What do you give it?
On a scale of 1 to 10,
Lean into it. Give me the point. Give me the exact number. 4.7, 3.8, 9.6.
we'll go 4.839.
Wow.
You wanted
Okay.
a point. I went for a
Okay.
point.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair. 4.839. Very specific. Very nuanced. Like it. Eric.
8675309. No. I don't know. 3.5. I was really not impressed.
3.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not.
I'm gonna go 3.2.
Mhm.
I'm gonna shoot low.
Yeah.
It's a $40 bottle of scotch. It's not
Mhm.
great. It's not horrible. It's passable. It's palatable.
Mhm.
Let's see if it causes indigestion. My score may change throughout the
No,
episode.
There you go.
Yeah, 3.2.
Okay.
Yeah. Very good.
Very
Excellent.
well then.
All right, boys and girls. You know the drill. Load in your questions. Eric and I will answer them. Whatever you need to know, we got you. Mr. Mac.
Within reason. Within reason. Yeah.
I'm an open book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you heard the man.
7.
Okay.
That's the answer. Mr.
All
Mac.
right, so we're
42 is the answer.
We'll start with this first question. It's a little time sensitive.
Okay.
Scott is going to a parade in St. Petersburg tomorrow.
Cool.
It's going to be in the 90s.
Ooh.
What would feel more comfortable, a 5-yard, an 8-yard, or a utility kilt? The humidity is going to be as high as well.
If you're going to Russia in general, you
Wrong St. Petersburg.
damn it. Okay. 5. Really, any of them. It depends. You know, this is my classic answer of. I see how it is. I saw that.
So what? Okay.
Um,
I'll be good.
It's my classic answer. Really, what your body temperature regulation has more to do with what's on your head and what's on your shirt, or what is your shirt, and or your kilt hose or not kilt hose, than it does the kilt itself. You have a lot of air conditioning under the kilt. For me, St. Petersburg, Florida, gonna be hot, gonna be a little humid. I'd probably either do, well, any of them will be fine for me. I've done them all, but I'd probably, if I had to purposely pick one, a 5-yarder.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I would go a 5-yard would be fine. Where we tend to have a slight disagreement on this stuff is that we totally agree that keeping your core temperature is the main thing. And you like to point out the fact that with a kilt, you've got lots of ventilation. My counterpoint is that in the midsection, where it's gripping your torso, the way proper kilt should, it's binding you up a bit, and you've got some layers of fabric there, which will insulate. So if you're prone to heat or if you sweat a lot, a lighter weight kilt, in my opinion, will do you better for that environment. I mean, there's a reason why we sell PV kilts to pipe bands in Arizona. So
It will. My only point in saying what I always say is that that may work, but it's the degree, not like temperature degree, but the degrees of separation kind of degree of how much it actually matters is more my thing. To me, the degrees that it actually matters is minuscule compared to a hat or a shirt versus which way to kilt or whatever.
I'll go further. I think it's a kind of a first world problem kind of argument. Some guys, if you've only got one kilt, or if you're only planning on owning one kilt, then you get the best kilt you can afford, and it may be that's an 8-yard because you want something that's going to look amazing for those special occasions as well as really amazing for casual occasions. So you kind of just take the lump of it's going to be warm in some weather. You know what I mean? If you are a serial kilter, you like to collect them, then you can have a couple different weights, a couple different styles in your closet and choose according to the occasion. But not everybody can. So
my mind went to gotta catch them all, then like the Pokemon Go, but you're catching kilts and throwing things at kilts. Sure.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Catching Scotsman?
That's gonna be we gotta do an app for the phone.
A USA Kilts app that's a
yes,
game?
USA Kilts Go.
So we got to gamify buying kilts. Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And you do that, and then
our media budget just went.
Yes. Sweet. I'm independently wealthy, didn't you know?
I know now. You're in trouble.
I'm not.
Hopefully that helps. I'd say a 5-yard is a good compromise, or perhaps in our lexicon with the things we offer, a semi-traditional, which is the nicer looking of the two polyviscose kilts that we offer. If you are representing a clan or trying to look traditional in any way, I would not do the utilikilt. If you're just going to spectate and just hang out, have a few beers, then
kick around.
Nothing wrong with the utilikilt in a context like that either. It depends on how sharp versus how casual you want to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Mac.
All right, since we're talking about utilikilts here, since Erik ended with that.
Yep.
Edward's asking socks and kilt hose, or socks or kilt hose with the utility style kilt and sneakers. Good, bad, thoughts?
Excuse me. I'll start over. If you're wearing a utility kilt, you're already kind of breaking with tradition, as in they're not traditional Highland wear. So the kilt hose or the socks or the footwear, as it were, that you're wearing with a utility kilt is sort of personal preference. You could wear a pair of kilt hose with them and a sporran to kind of dress up the utility kilt a little bit, make it look a little bit more Highland wear. You could also just wear a pair of ankle socks and a pair of, regular Nike running shoes or whatever.
Yeah.
You could, if you're going to a beach, throw on a pair of flip-flops and no socks because you're in a utility kilt. There are no conventions, rules, whatever, with utility kilts. They were designed in 2000 by Stephen Villegas over at utility kilts. So there are no rules. We're making them up as we go along. We're building the plane as we're traveling down the runway. So there's no right or wrong what you can or can't wear for shoes and socks with utility kilts. It's a new thing. So it's it's a fashion thing. You do what you want.
Yeah. I'd say that you can, to some degree, dress up a utility kilt. Just like you could, you can have a solid color kilt like I've got on today. And kilt hose can be a nice way to accentuate colors in the shirt you're wearing or other parts of the outfit. And you can play with it that way, but you don't want to go too far so it looks like you're trying too hard, I think. Like if I wouldn't wear a utility kilt with a Prince Charlie. You know what I mean? But if you're talking casual wear, like it's cooler out and you want to wear some kilt hose with a jumper, that is to say a cable knit sweater, that can be pretty cool looking. I would say make sure you have flashes. If you're wearing kilt hose, kilt hose, make sure you have flashes. I prefer otherwise to have socks that can reach down to the top of the shoes. I'm a boot guy, not a sneaker guy, so I think that tends to look good. Sneakers, I don't know. I would just go with regular athletic socks if that's where you're at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very
Makes
good.
sense. Yeah.
Hope that helps, Mr. Mac.
All right, since we're down at the shoes, We have Pierre asking, is there such a thing as faux garter ties?
Yes.
Garter ties.
Yeah.
Are there?
Yeah.
Okay. So in other words, like elastic band flashes that the ribbon, the flash that is, looks
Yep.
like the ends of a garter tie.
Yeah, House of Cheviot makes garter
Okay.
ties, and then some people didn't like them but wanted the look, so
I see.
they just offer an elastic garter with effectively the tie part that are just solid color flashes with a
Okay.
little bobble on the end
Okay.
that give the effect of garter ties that are just hanging down below the top
But
of the
without
cuff.
you having to actually tie
Yep.
a garter tie on.
It's
Okay.
the lazy man's garter tie.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So the answer is yes.
So yes, they exist.
And
They are not the Sasquatch of the kilt world.
okay.
Yes.
Are they difficult to obtain?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Any company that has an account with House Cheviot, they make the Lewis hose. They're a hose company. They do some flashes and garter ties and
Sporting
stuff like
socks.
that. Yeah, sporting
shooting
socks,
socks.
shooting socks. Not sport, rugby socks. No. Yeah, so they offer them, and we are a retailer for them. We sell their Lewis hose and a few other things. So if you need a pair, just drop us an email. But yeah, any company that sells their stuff can get them.
There you go.
Mr. Mac.
All right, one thing we've skipped over is the tartans y'all are wearing today.
Yes,
Thanks for keeping us on our toes there.
I was going to do that earlier, but I forgot about it.
It's the Scotch.
Yes, because it was before the Scotch.
Oh, before
I
that.
was
okay.
supposed to do it before the Scotch. The Scotch for today was given to us by a guy named Mike Sinclair, and in his honor, I am wearing the Sinclair Hunting Ancient Tartan today
Cool.
as a doff of the cap, as it were, to our Patreon of
legit.
Scotch. Is that a thing, Patreon of Scotch?
It is now.
I'd like it to be a thing. Please give us Scotch.
Be our
We need
Scotch Patreon.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just wearing a black Shadow Tartan. I'm not sure how well it'll show up on camera. Essentially, a Shadow Tartan is one where it is only one color, but you have a tartan type effect by how they alter the threads when they do the warp and weft when they're weaving it. So it catches the light in certain angles. Like Adam was looking at earlier, he was like, is that one of those Shadow Tartans? I really can't tell. And I said, well, you can't tell because of the light in the room. Once you go out in the sunlight, then you can see the effect more effectively. But yeah, it's fun, and I figured it's October, Halloween season, so decided to go totally gothed out today. So,
Johnny Cash, I prefer to think.
yeah, I know.
And
Yeah.
it's super fancy. The about 10 years ago in Scotland, there was a trend, especially in the rental industry as well, towards solid black kilts, and then out of that grew a trend into this Shadow Tartan, which Erik is wearing here. And then out of that grew a trend into grays and tweeds and stuff like that
Yeah.
we're kind of currently in.
Yeah.
So it was a thing. It is still kind of a thing, but it was a fashion kind of moment in time with Highland wear, not so much a historical, traditional moment
Yeah,
in time.
Shadow Tartan is probably one of the newest types of tartan. You can't even really call it tartan technically, I would say.
You
Is
can.
it? You
It's-
can?
yeah.
Really?
It's
Okay.
things
but,
alternating.
okay, but you couldn't say there's like, McDonald Shadow. You know what I mean?
You could, I don't know. You could possibly do it as a thought exercise. You could do it. You would just have to alternate instead of. It's kind of like the sequence of numbers for 0s 1 0 1 0 1 kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
It's you would just change every time there's a color change the color in the tartan to either 1 or 0
Mhm.
versus red, green, blue, blah blah blah.
So it'd be angle X versus angle Y instead of the color.
Yeah,
For
or
getting the
one,
shadow effect.
either. Yes, correct. Angle. Yeah, I see where you're going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That'd be neat.
It's interesting.
Nobody ever did that, and it's kind of difficult, especially on a computer screen, to actually see what the tartan is.
Yeah.
There's like 5 or 6 different Shadow Tartans that exist across a couple different mills,
Mhm.
and they all look similar-ish, but when you actually have the cloth in person, you can tell there's a little bit more of a difference. So it would be too difficult to actually tell if it's McDonald or Scot or Baird or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You could get away with it with a really simple.
Yeah, I mean
Tartan,
that's
maybe.
that's
That's
what
what
I
I'm
was just
thinking.
thinking. It would just get someone would get too muffled together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be that'd be a fun pleating.
You're imagining
Oh
trying to.
boy.
Yeah.
I'm imagining the warehouse workers at the mill trying to categorize under fluorescent lights.
Yeah.
Like
Going,
it's going like half blind with one eye open. Like, is this McDonald or is
ugh. It's all Menzies.
Is this Campbell or
it's
is it-
all Menzies?
Yeah. It's all Blackwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're Pretty much.
Yeah, so I would say, but shop tartans are a fun alternative the way
Yeah.
a tweed kilt is a fun alternative, basically.
Yeah, it's really cool looking. It gets the full effect in the sun, where you can actually see from different angles, like, oh wow,
Yeah.
there really is a tartan there, and you see it differently as you walk around the person. It kind of looks cool.
Mhm.
Yep.
And the accessories go with it. Yeah. So
Yes.
there's that.
That was the one thing that I think Scotland missed entirely was the trend towards the Shadow Tartans and towards solid color black. Happened around 2008-ish. Mac, when did you get married? Because I know you had a solid...
10 years ago.
Wedding. Yeah, 10 years ago. Okay, so 2008 or so, it started to become a thing. And then on the very, very, very tail end of the Shadow Tartans and the solid color black, not tartans, but solid color black kilts, the sporran makers and the buckle makers and the kilt pin makers kind of got in on the trend and started doing black chrome or black matted buckles and kilt pins and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they just missed it. If they were a year and a half earlier, and it's just like the way that you finish the metal, if they were if you were a year and a half earlier, they could have killed it and really, really caught on the trend. But
Maybe.
they were just a little bit beyond it.
Mhm.
So there's some that are okay, but they just missed it.
Mm-hmm. I think bronze is the new trendy thing now.
Bronze or copper, yeah.
Bronze and copper are the new metal choices.
And-
I don't know, because I wouldn't want a matte black sporran and a matte black kilt pin on a black kilt.
At that time, it was...
Yeah, it's just kind of pointless, though.
But it was the thing. That was the point, was just
Yeah,
blackout.
okay. As much as I like black, that's
That's too much black for you?
There's nothing there.
No!
There's nothing there. You know.
The new word is chocolate. It's like the chocolate bronze or whatever. It's like a darkened bronze or copper kind of finish on stuff.
With tones of violet. Vanilla pound cake.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a big fan from the aspect of I want my accessories to be effectively timeless. Highland wear in general is timeless, and it will go on and look good, 40 years ago and 100 years from now, it will still look good.
Mhm.
And if you catch on to a trend and you're dropping $250, $350 on a dress sporran, you're capturing a moment in time, but as soon as that trend is over, you got to buy a new dress sporran.
Or you might feel odd with
Or you
it, at
feel
least,
dated,
but-
yeah.
Yeah, you might feel dated. I don't know. I'm not that picky about it. I think there's enough that it depends on how solid the design is. I think I wouldn't mind owning a bronze sporran 20 years from now.
But you wear it every single day. There's a difference. Or I'd say the capitalist in me is saying, shut the hell up. Do both. Do
Get
all three.
the
And yes,
sporrans.
get
You
all the
must have
sporrans
all
that
the
exist.
sporrans.
But
But if you have to choose just one.
Yeah, the desert island
Yeah.
would be, antiqued or chrome or something like that. But
Mhm.
if you're going to have multiple, then that's fine. My brain always goes to how often are you going to wear a dress sporran?
Yeah.
You should only wear it to formal occasions, weddings and that kind of thing, not every single day. But if you're
But
I don't know.
There's also people who do that now. I mean, there are people they're doing
They
a
get
throwback
married
to
every day.
No, they're doing a throwback to Edwardian times, and they're
Yeah.
doing
Fair.
a dress type sporran because it has a more antique look to it,
Yeah.
a more antiquarian look. You know what I mean? So,
But they would generally
it's part
wear
of the Downton Abbey effect.
Yes,
you know?
but they would generally wear either a like a tarnished silver, antiqued kind of thing, not necessarily a bronze
I've seen
or
it. I've
chocolate
seen
copper.
it, but
There,
time will
there may
tell.
be some. Yeah.
If there's a demand, if it becomes a thing that stays, then it'll wind up showing up in our offerings probably.
On our webpage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yup. Shaggy dog.
I'll take two.
There we go.
Mr. Mac.
All right, so we have Erik has kicked the door open here on a few things.
Uh-oh.
So
Well, that's what I do, guys. Sorry.
there is a
born
few
door
people
kicker.
asking for an image of that, so we'll get a picture of you and we'll put it up on the web page
On the
or
still store?
on the Instagrams or one of the
Yeah,
socials.
so be patient. But yeah, we do have pictures of Shadow Tartan around. Somebody, maybe one of the guys who's watching now, could actually post one in the comments. But
Yeah, if you go to the website and just search on Shadow or Shadow Tartan or something like that, it'll pop up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a few people asking about how a Shadow Tartan is made, because if it's using the same colors, so the one set of threads is twisted one way, one set of threads is twisted the opposite.
You're
right?
answering my question for me, Mac.
Yeah, but I'm just kind of speeding.
Mac. So, how a Shadow Tartan is made.
Can you confirm or deny the rumors of how a Shadow Tartan is actually made, Mr. Rager?
Oh, Mac, why don't you weigh in on this one? You seem to know everything. No, he's right. The Shadow Tartans, the way it was described to me from one of the mills, is you take threads twisted to the right and then threads twisted to the left, and you line them up side by side. You know, a field of twisted to the right, smaller field twisted to the left, and you alternate the fields, and that's how you get the angles. Like the light basically reflects off of it differently. So, to the best of my knowledge, that is how Shadow Tartans are made. But I bow to Mac's superior knowledge of all things.
The only problem with buying one online is you kind of just have to take it on faith a little bit because the effect is very hard to capture in photography.
It's minimal. Scanning
it's really subtle.
I've had a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
But it's very subtle, and it really depends on the light. Like if you're looking at it straight on in a dimly lit or in a meh kind of lit room, you're just gonna basically see black. When you go outside and you look at it from an angle, you can absolutely see it.
Yeah. I would say if you're interested in it, consider for yourself if you would be just as happy or comfortable with a plain solid color kilt. And if the answer is yes, then the Shadow Tartan is kind of like the icing on the cake.
A wise man once told me,
mm-hmm.
if you're not sure, get a swatch of the fabric, and you'll be able to see it in person and take it out in the light and put it in the closet and see it in the dark. I don't know. But you'll be able to you'll be able to see it in different lighting conditions.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant.
This is wonderful. I can't see a thing. It is so black. Oh wait,
for my Highland ninja outfit. Anything else?
So the other question everyone's been having is your kilt pins. You're wearing 2 today.
Yeah, I know.
He's special.
Yep. I'm just doing it to tweak him a little bit. This is not standard. This is not traditional. Don't do this. But
do as I say, not as I do, kids.
I was in a gothy punk rock kind of mood today, so got the double pins on there. The exception I would say is, I mean, this is like, I'm gonna say fashion forward. I don't know. The one is just a generic sword kilt pin, and I'd had that on there, and I was like, it's a little plain looking. I mean, this is actually a pin that was my sister's when she was doing horseback riding, but it's got that kind of nice.
Aw.
What? Don't go dissing my sister.
I'm not. I'm saying it's adorable.
I've had for years. And so just as a little extra bling, it's kind of cool, very gothy looking. I have seen people do it in a more tasteful than I way by having like they might like have a regular kilt pin and then have like a military like a collar dog or something like that above. I've seen combinations like that. From a traditional standpoint, it's not something you do. From a fashion forward standpoint, or wanting to show bling that has special kind of a dog whistle-y quality to your peers, then it's kind of cool to do. It's like, something that shows that you're in a certain club or went to a certain event or something like that. So you're going to the festival and you want to show that off, and hopefully some guy's gonna be like, dude, I know exactly what that is. That can be fun. That can be a lot of fun. But here I'm just having fun with it, just messing with it. Right?
Indeed.
Good for the club, not good for the clan gathering.
Yes. I'm wearing our fancy new Fenrir buckle, Fenrir kilt pin. I figure we were drinking, the Orkney Scotch.
Yep.
So it would be appropriate
get our
apropos.
Viking.
Yep. Go a little bit aggro, a little bit Viking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bottle's artwork is almost as nice as our buckle. It's not quite.
Nah, it's not.
Yeah. But Doug, if you're out there, thanks again.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Mr. Mac.
All right, since we're talking about solids or
liquids,
close to not so solid kilts, we have, where did it go? Oh, we have Robert asking what color to go with a saffron kilt. So he's got a saffron kilt. He's looking for accessories to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
The classic, for lack of a better term, is like bottle green. A lot of guys wearing a saffron kilt are obviously Irish, or maybe not obviously Irish. Saffron kilt is an Irish thing. Therefore, a lot of guys that wear saffron kilts want to wear a bottle green, either military doublet or bottle green hose. Color-wise, they're pretty complementary. They look good together.
Now, was he talking about metal accessories, or was he talking about?
He said
fabric.
shirt. I thought. No?
He just said What colors?
What
So
colors?
I'm
Okay,
guessing,
so
like
we're assuming
flashes,
clothing. Okay.
ties.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now see, for me, saffron would be a tough one for leather color other than black, from an aspect of it would look like they tried to match on mist kind of thing, maybe.
I don't think I'd be
I
that
don't
worried
know.
about it. I
Maybe
think,
I'm not that critical.
let's put it this way: if you had a belt and sporran that were 2 different shades of brown, might be a little more forgivable on a standard tartan where you have multiple other colors to kind of distract you. But on a solid color kilt, especially saffron, if you've got like a tan belt and a chocolate brown sporran, it's going to look weird.
A Sam Brown belt.
Yeah.
With a buckle, big and strong. A holster
Nice.
that's been empty many a day.
I see what you did there. But you know what I mean. I think make sure your leathers match.
Yeah.
For sure, and therefore black is easier. Bottle green, yeah, very traditional, very classic. I was gonna say I like some earth tones with saffron, like brown tweeds are really good. Not grays, not blues, but go stick towards the golds and the browns and stuff. And there's a lot of stuff you can do with the tweeds.
I'm going to disagree. I think a gray would look fine with it,
Gray
especially a
might, but-
mid to lighter gray.
Yeah,
Too much brown, you look like a big turd.
I disagree.
It's too much. It depends on the saffron. Some
I was
saffrons are
about to
more
say, it
brown.
depends on the
Some are
saffron.
more orange. Like it's
Yep.
a color, but the mills cheat it different directions.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much personally. But I've seen I like brown tweeds more than you do, so that might be something going on with that.
I enjoy
You think?
brown tweeds.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
All right. Okay.
Love affair.
But bottle green is your safest bet.
Yeah.
Or black.
Yeah, black goes with everything. Same with, and that's why I said the gray. The gray,
Yeah.
charcoal, all that will go with anything. And the advantage.
If it's a
to-
dark charcoal, yes. If it's a bluish gray, then I don't think it's going to work as well with the orange.
I'll just say this: if the colors don't compete, but that's why I like the lighter, the mid gray kind of color jacket that we have. It goes anybody with a little salt and pepper beard, a little bit of gray in the hair. It goes very, very well. It pulls that out and makes you look more distinguished. And it will go with anything as far as tartan, as far as saffron, as far as solid green kilts, whatever it is, it'll still go. And it's I don't know. I like the gray stuff.
Okay. I do think that's a key point, though, is there's a lot of different saffrons out there. Some are much more yellowish. Some are much more mustard to brown. So it's going to vary a little bit depending on the exact fabric of your kilt.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But the grays, to finish my other point and go back to it, the grays allow the tartan or the solid color to kind of stand out on its own.
Okay.
And they kind of like fade into the background a little bit and just allow the color to come through. That's my theory.
Okay.
Indeed.
There you go.
Mr. Mac.
Mac doesn't like it when mom and dad fight.
All right, so we've got
Slap fight.
we've got a few questions along these lines, so I'm gonna try to
Lump 'em.
combine them together.
Okay.
John Jeremy Susan said.
John
it's-
Jacob Jingleheimer.
So we have
His name's my name too.
So while researching different family, or while researching your family tree, they found out that one person is from this is, let's say, McPherson. One person's Mackenzie. Which tartan should they be wearing, or does it matter at all? And if someone's looking for a particular tartan, or trying to figure out where their family even has one, where would they start searching for that?
Okay. That was several questions all at once.
Classic thing, though.
Yes. The first place to search, there's this website I've heard of.
Huh.
Beautiful website, very, very well designed, great prices on stuff. USAKilts.com, I believe. Yes, that's it.
Those guys?
Those guys. Yeah, they're very nice guys. Yeah.
All right.
Go to our website, search on the surname that you're looking for, or last name for us Americans. And if there are any clans that are associated with that name, the tartan will pop up.
Right. Or districts or Irish counties.
Yes, what he said. What do you wear if you have multiple? Great question. Glad you asked. Sorry, again, long day. There's, if you have McPherson, McDonald, Stewart, and a few different ones, historically speaking, traditionally speaking, as it were, you would go through your paternal line. So whatever your father's name was, or his father's name was, or his father's name was, that's generally how it would come down. That being said, let's say you're adopted and you don't know, or let's say your parents got divorced and your dad was a jerk and ran off with somebody else, or your dad was never in the picture. Then go through your mother's line. It's all personal to you. This is all about you. That's the point. It's what you feel comfortable with, what you want to wear to represent your heritage. So if you have multiple families in your background, traditionally through the male line, but if you really, really love your mom, or she was the Scot in the family and your dad was German, then wear hers. Or if they're both Scottish, there's nothing wrong with wearing both. In Scotland, generally...
Not at the same time.
Yes, please God, not at the same time.
Not at the same time.
In Scotland, generally the answer is you pick one, that's your tartan, that's what you wear, done. In America, we love to have multiple options, so I would say if you like both, great, wear both. If you like one but hate the other one, even though it's your father's line, great, then wear your mom's tartan. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It's what you want to wear to represent your heritage. Right. That's the point.
Yeah, and you can actually have some fun with that. Sometimes there are different tartan tones and colors that you'd like for, say, the winter. Like there's the tartan you really think looks fantastic for going to a Christmas party. And then there's a lighter tartan, like an ancient palette tartan or something that you like that feels right for being out in the sun all day.
Whatever,
yeah, so if you have more than one version of your clan tartan, or if you have more than one clan in your background, that can be fun to play with. It's usually a good idea to have your accessories like the kilt pin and everything match the tartan you're wearing. We have lots of people who do this. That is to say, they will wear their mom's side of the family represented by the kilt pin and their dad's side of the family represented by the tartan. Technically, from a traditional standpoint, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to mix like that. We have guys who do that all the time. So that's going to be your mileage may vary kind of a thing. But you don't have to feel hidebound by any of this stuff, basically.
Yeah, that's what he was just talking about is very much an American thing. We want to represent all the heritage all the time, all at once.
More.
Yes, more is more. In Scotland, it's less is more. You pick one and you go with one. You wouldn't wear an Eagles jersey with a Steelers cap. It's you pick one. Which team are you representing today? And that's what you go with. So either you're on Clan Stewart or you're on Clan MacDonald. You're not a MacDonald kilt pin with a Stewart kilt.
Mm-hmm. But the bare bones tradition is the male line.
Correct.
Patrilineal.
Yes. Patrilineal. Exactly. Daddy.
Yep. Cool.
I think that may be the only time I've ever said daddy. It's kind of creepy.
On camera?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in general. I don't say daddy. Mm-hmm. Mr. Mac.
All right. So along those lines, we have John. He's found out that McRae has a dress tartan.
Okay.
And is it
It's
something...
White. It's white. It's
Yes,
a lot of
it
white.
is.
Oh.
He's asking...
I think you just got your answer, John.
He's asking, is it something that more of a women's dress, or is it more like a formal dress for a man? Which would it be more okay to wear?
Whatever you like. If you like that tartan. No. The McRae dress is, it's a lot of white. Does it have it like a purple line, or is a red line with a bunch of blue squares? I just remember it's a lot of white. A lot of the dress tartans are actually just fashion versions created for Highland dancers. I mean, they're not real tartans, so to speak, but they are. They're now registered and whatnot. But a lot of the mills, Highland dancers like to have their outfit be a little bit different and like to have it bright and white to, show off well on the stage. So a lot of those tartans, the mills would just create and then slap a name on it and call Dress McRae, Dress Johnston, Dress Subidibida. So just give it a name to be able to sell it to the Highland dancers, and it's kind of become a thing in and of its own. There is no dress tartans are for women thing. Generally, there's a lot of white in dress tartans. There are exceptions like McLeod and things like that, Dress Barclay. But dress tartans generally have a lot of white and tend to look more feminine is the way that I will say it. A guy can still wear it. He can still wear the Stewart dress or the McRae dress and be fine. It's still a tartan. It's not illegal. It's not a faux pas, but it does tend to look more feminine.
Yeah, I mean, the lore is that dress tartans were invented by the Victorians so that you had something that looked a little extra special for evening events to go with a formal doublet. Usually like a black velvet doublet if you're talking about the mid to late 19th century. It was lighter weight visually, so it looked elegant and was not heavy, for lack of a better word. It doesn't.
Right.
It looks so outdoorsy. That's mostly just kind of myth for the most part. I want to look into it further now that I've just talked about it. But I'd say that's kind of a way to think about it. I've seen guys who do a dress tartan because they specifically want something that is brighter in a low light situation, like in the evening. Like if you're at a ball or something and it's ballroom lighting and it's kind of dim.
Or on stage.
It can be a nice effect that way. But you gotta be careful that you're not gonna be tired of it after a while that you've owned it, or that you only want to bring it out once in a while. Are you sure you want to invest in it if you're not gonna wear it every single day? And to be perfectly, bare bones about it, white will show stains more. It doesn't wear as well over time, in my opinion. So, if you fall in love with it, you fall in love with it, and that's fine. But I think another version of the tartan you may find more pleasing over the years than the dress version.
Yeah, I'd say collect the ancient weathered and modern first, then maybe look at the dress. But again, it's his personal choice. He can do whatever he wants to do.
Absolutely.
If he likes it, how about it?
So you gotta try this again now that's had a chance to breathe a little bit. Did you have any left?
I can have some left.
A little more of the flavors coming out now.
No,
yeah.
Not more scotch. Uncle. Where'd the scotch go?
Oh, it's over here.
This episode's going to go off the rails.
It's a little better. It's a little better now that it's had a chance to...
Do you have water in it still?
That's my original serving, so I had just a little splash of water in it.
All right.
But
I'll pour another splash. Get it off of film or off of camera.
Whoa, that was a big splash.
It's more the cocktail now.
That was a big splash.
Well, now I got the...
You might have to have more scotch of that.
Yeah, all right.
Sawing the legs off of the whiskey table. Sorry for the confusion. Mac, do you have anything else?
Oh yeah, we got a few things here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Don't you know?
So we have Jason asking, what is the best way to make alterations to his kilt? He's lost a little bit, and now it falls off without the... and needs to have a belt on.
Yep.
To alter a wool kilt, or even our semi-traditional, anything with straps and buckles, if it's a couple inches, what I would say is take it to a tailor or a dry cleaner with tailoring service that you trust. Walk in and show them the problem. On the right-hand side, all you have to do is take off the waist and the hip buckles and move them back X number of inches. If you've lost 2 inches, move them back 2 inches. Right. If you've lost 3 inches or 4 inches, move them back that much. On the left-hand side, where the strap actually goes through the kilt and connects to the buckle on the left, you take off the strap and you move that back the same corresponding number of inches. So if you move these 2, you move that one 2, and that's a 2-inch difference in the kilt. It's not a big thing. It's not difficult to do. It'll probably run you $20 or so. It's a 10-minute fix from a dry cleaner. So yeah, it's not difficult to do.
Yeah. What's the magic number we usually say? Like if it goes beyond a certain number of inches and change, you may be having to look at a new kilt?
There's no specific magic number. What is too many inches or not? It depends on the size that you started and the size you're at. So if a person with a 34-inch waist lost 8 inches, time for a new kilt.
They better get to the hospital.
If a guy with a 56-inch waist lost 8 inches, that's about the outside most of what we'd ever want to adjust, and you have to move the belt loops and that kind of stuff. But that would potentially be possible.
It's a smaller slice of the pie, basically.
Yes.
It's a smaller proportion.
Exactly. It's a percentage of their overall size.
Okay.
So we should really come up with a percentage, Mac, of what a good percentage is that people can lose and still adjust.
Yeah, but then you have people trying to calculate percentages.
That's their mathematical problem.
Okay, fine. All right. Yeah, so that's basically
Take calculus to figure it out.
A minor adjustment is fine. If you reach the point where the apron is starting to overlap the pleats, you got a problem. You don't want to look like you're wearing a barbecue apron. You don't want to look like you're wearing a cheerleader skirt.
It can overlap the pleats a bit. It's more the bigger tell is it going a proper kilt it goes from hip to hip. So it's basically half of your waist measurement. The bigger tell is, does it go like butt cheek to butt cheek?
Right.
That's the bigger problem,
Yeah.
is if it's like, if you're a 40-inch waist and your front apron is 20 inches and you go down to 30, you now went from 20 inches of pleats to 10 inches of pleats, and it's just going to look
That's what I mean by
odd
the
in the
barbecue
back.
apron effect. Like
Yeah.
it's wrapping around you.
it goes too far around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Absolutely. Mr. Mac.
All right, so we have Michael asking, he has a faded or stained Glengarry. Can they be restored or re-dyed?
I remember this question coming in, actually.
I'd say hand wash it or soak it first, to see if it's stained. Maybe use like laundry detergent or Palmolive, whatever dishwashing, hands.
You're wondering if it's like a dust
stuff.
thing or something?
If it's
or...
dust or if it's salt stains or something from sweating.
Yeah, okay.
So soaking it would kind of allow that to come out and release it.
Yeah.
In like warm or tepid water, not super hot, not super cold. Can you re-dye it? It's black, so sure, try it. Just make sure you set the dye and don't wear it with the dye still in it. If it's sweating black, remove the tori from it, the ball on top. Remove that before you dye it.
I want to get Mac's input on this a little bit since he's worked with fabrics historically, but my gut reaction is don't try it. I think your chances of getting the dye to set properly in the wool are not good, and you're going to wind up having it bleed a lot. You've got other fabrics in there as well. You've got the whatever the grosgrain that's used for the edges and for the ribbons are made out of.
It may take the dye differently.
You've got the liner. Yeah. It will definitely take the dye differently. And the wool itself may actually have been treated with stain resistance, like much of the wool we get from Scotland does. Or it might be a wool blend, depending on where you got the hat from, in which case the dye is not going to set very well at all. I think it's just going to be a mess. That's my personal... Mac, what do you think?
I'm just agreeing with you.
Okay.
I think it's the same thing, because we don't know what that wool's been treated with.
Yeah. I'd say this. Glengarry, $50 to $100 or whatever, around that kind of price range, depending on the Glengarry company. If it's already ruined, or the dye's coming out,
wear it otherwise,
and you don't care, have at it. Like if it was a $500 kilt and you're saying, oh yeah, I want to restore it by doing this, no. If it's an item that's under $100 and it's already ruined-ish anyway, you're not really losing anything by trying.
Yeah,
that's I guess what my point is.
Yeah, I just I don't think it's likely the results will be good. So yeah,
I don't disagree.
Sure you're not worried about not being able to use again, and then maybe experiment with it.
Get a Sharpie. Just color it in.
There's some truth to that. There's some truth.
Oh
to
yeah.
That. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of rental companies, kilt rental companies,
mm-hmm.
when you dry clean the jackets, the epaulets are made of a cheaper, like satiny kind of fabric than the jacket, and a lot of rental companies will just take a Sharpie, color them in, done. That's good enough.
Yeah. Because nobody's gonna know.
Exactly. Mr. Mac.
All right, so we have Sean asking, when looking at a list of tartan names, some of the names are followed by DA. Example, Blackwatch DA.
Yep.
What does DA mean?
DA is Martin Mills code for dark. So if they have Blackwatch and then they have a darker version of Blackwatch that a particular customer somewhere in their company history wanted Blackwatch, but can you make it darker? Then they just called it DA. So that's all that means.
It's just Martin Mills that does that.
Correct.
That's
nothing
not
nefarious.
Industry standard.
Correct.
Okay.
The other one he's talking about basically on our website. That's why we have it listed that way.
Okay.
The other one on our website that might be a little confusing is House of Edgar has two 16-ounce ranges. They have their Nevis range and their heavyweight range. They're both 16-ounce. Their heavyweight is done single width on a single width loom and is a little bit more expensive. And then their Nevis is done on a rapier loom, so it's actually the tuck-in selvage and it's double width cloth. So on our website, if they do Robertson red in both heavyweight and their Nevis range, both 16-ounce, we will put parentheses N by the Nevis one, so that way when your order comes through, I know that it's the Nevis range and that's priced appropriately versus the heavyweight range, which is a little bit more money.
Do other makers show that kind of coding, or is that usually behind the scenes?
It's usually behind the scenes. Not a lot of mills do multiple ranges or multiple colorways of the same tartan within the same weight.
Okay.
Like, not ancient versus modern, but 2 shades of modern.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. You're cannibalizing your own sales. For I'm going to have a darker black watch and a lighter black watch. Who cares? Just have one black watch. It's the same thing, basically.
Okay.
But they did it.
So we're just really uptight by making sure we have all of them. Is
Yeah.
that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I like to make sure the customers have
Okay,
all
okay.
of the options.
All right. Okay.
Now, that being said, they may have gotten in cloth and not been able to get rid of it. So they just called it a different
Okay.
thing, or the person who ordered it didn't buy all of it, so they said, fine, well, we'll just add it to our range
Okay.
and sell it as such.
Okay.
I know
But
they,
there's nothing really worrisome about any of those codes. Like,
no, if
Okay.
there was something worrisome, we wouldn't have it on the website.
gotcha. Okay.
People ask us on occasion, well, which mill is best? Which one would you go? Well, which mill is better than the other ones? Is that what the surcharge means?
Whichever one irons better.
Yeah, whichever one irons better, yes.
Spoken like a true kilt maker.
Yes. But no, my standard pat answer to customers is, if I had a problem with the cloth, I wouldn't offer it. Ultimately, it's our name on the product, so
Right.
I just wouldn't offer it if I didn't like it.
Yeah. So basically, don't let the codes worry you. Just trust your gut as to what you like.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Slaja.
You notice anything different? You watered the heck out of that.
Yeah, it's
That
really
was too
watered,
much.
and I got the
That was too much water.
icebreakers.
Yeah.
I notice it tastes horrible now.
Patience. Patience is a virtue.
Mr. Mac.
All right, so we have Jason going to his cousin's wedding. The wedding party is in formal kilt attire.
Okay.
He is not in the party, but others will be wearing their kilts.
Okay.
Would a dress shirt, tie, and vest of this kilt be enough to go as a guest to the wedding?
Yeah.
In this country, yeah.
In any country.
Well, I
Yes.
think if you're traditional, if it's a church wedding, you should have a jacket. If it's an outdoor wedding, casual wedding, then you don't have to have the jacket. I think is a
Fair,
common
fair.
paradigm these days. In the U.S., kind of anything goes with this stuff. So I would say, vest and a tie picks up the tones from the tartan. You should be fine. Yeah. I thought the question was going to be more along the lines of nobody else in the audience is going to be wearing a kilt. Is it a faux pas for me to wear a kilt if I'm not in the wedding party? But and my answer would still be no. You're fine as long as you don't upstage how well dressed they are. As long as you tone it down, keep it more on the day wear level as opposed to really highly formal level, you're not upstaging the wedding party. But if there's other people in the crowd who are wearing kilts, then yeah, I'd say that sounds fine.
I'd say this. I'd rather see him wear, if he's going to wear his kilt, a vest and a tie and a dress shirt than try to get away with a suit jacket with the kilt.
Oh yeah,
I'd rather see him do that.
yeah.
And
I was
frankly
assuming
speaking-
a kilt jacket, not
Understood.
a Saxon
Yes.
suit jacket. Yeah.
And what I would say is, in the U.S., 99% of people at most weddings will have no idea what level of formality your kilt outfit
Yeah.
is, because they don't know. You're just the dude in a kilt, so you must know what you're doing.
Right.
So
And you
I'd
do.
say you're fine.
When someone asks if you're a kilted god, you say yes. Yeah.
Who so questions the kilted god? That's how you respond. Yes.
There you go. There you go.
Mr. Mac.
So along those lines, we have Rick asking. He purchased a kilt 2 years ago, along with kilt hose, flashes, belt, sporran hangers. He kept it casual, got a grandfather shirt with it.
Okay.
Now he
Sounds
wants to
like you shop with
go
us.
a more formal direction. Would just buying a jacket and vest and adding a different shirt, or should he do more? Should he maybe look at a ruche tie, bow tie, like where? I guess it depends on how formal he's going with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's just trying to go from a casual to more of a dressier
Dressy
occasion.
occasion.
Is
Yeah.
it still a casual kilt he has, or he just upgraded?
No,
the kilt
it's
too?
it's an Ayrshire, so it's going to be
Okay.
at least
Yeah,
a 5 yard.
really.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. That's the beauty of I'm going to start over. The beauty of Highland wear is that you can accessorize or de-accessorize the outfit for your level of formality. If you want to wear a 5-yard wool kilt casually, you can wear it with a pair of crew socks and sneakers and t-shirt, all the way up to a Prince Charlie dress sporran and kilt hose.
Right.
So that is the inherent beauty of Highland wear, is the kilt itself is the centerpiece, and then how formal you are or casual you are is just how you put together the rest of the outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So without seeing your sporran or what kind of kilt hose you have and that kind of thing, it's difficult to make a judgment call on what you need to be dressed up or dressed down. Do you have cream hose, or do you have a colored hose? Do you have argyle hose? You know, there's different nuances to it, but I'd say an argyle jacket and vest or a Prince Charlie jacket and vest with a 5-yard wool kilt would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you're wearing a Prince Charlie, then you'd probably want to wear a dress sporran, not a day sporran or a semi-dress. If you're wearing an argyle, you could wear really any of it depending on the occasion, and your necktie or bow tie kind of matters as much, if not more. There's a few nuances to it, but you can do anything. It's just a matter of which parts go with which things.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of the accessories that we're talking about are pretty cheap to add on. You can get multiple neckties, multiple bow ties. The ruche tie is probably the least desirable, unless you're wacky about historical fantasy kind of looks like I am. A ruche tie you'll probably get the least amount of use out of. So I would say invest in a couple of ties you like that are solid color and tone with the kilt. You want to make it a little more formal, then you could do a silk tie as opposed to the traditional wool tie, which is the more conservative way to go. A bow tie, just stick with a black one to start with, and invest in the Highland version of the wing collar shirt, which basically means it has a placket, so you don't have to wear studs. That will get you by just fine for a formal event with an argyle jacket and vest, or with the Prince Charlie. It's going to be there whenever you need it. And we're talking, for any of these things, we're talking like $30-$40. It's not hard to do. The sporran really is the key, I think, for how dressy you look.
Yep.
It's going to depend on how fancy that is. That is the centerpiece of Highland wear pretty much all the time. So yeah, and a nice pair of kilt hose, not the cream, but a nice pair of hose doesn't have to be expensive either. Yeah. So what else would I say?
Even just black, even like in the cheap range,
you can't go wrong with black.
I'd rather see black than cream.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're trying to do it as eating one peanut at a time, you're trying to spread your money out, then rather than investing in a jacket and vest at the same time, you could just get the argyle vest, and that can look really sharp in a lot of not really formal but still like date night kind of a level of niceness. A lot of guys will do that. So
the other thing I'll point out as well, a lot of the items we're talking about, the necktie, the kilt hose, the flashes, the kilt pin, those kind of things, you can get, they're in the gift category, meaning they're under $50.
Yep.
So since we're coming up on the holidays in a few months,
yep,
tell your family, I don't care where you shop, you don't have to shop with us.
Right.
Tell your family, hey, this would make a great gift for me for Christmas. I really need a new pair of kilt hose. Here's a link that would make a good gift.
Yeah.
And tell them what you want. Help them help you. Help them complete your outfit for you.
Yeah, and remind them that they could all chip in on something that's a big ticket item like a nice dress sporran.
Yeah.
So I think trust your gut. Take it one step at a time. Think about the event that you want to go to, and if it's far enough out, then you have a deadline to work towards, and you can just kind of tick things off your list as you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But the kiltie's got to work just fine for any level of formality.
Yeah.
So if he's got 5-yard, right?
Yeah,
5
it's
yard?
5 yard.
At least.
So, yeah. That'll be fine for that.
Yep, that's the beauty of Highland wear.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mac.
All right, so I missed to ask the question, so I apologize for that. But they have a black watch kilt.
Okay.
They're asking, would you wear a two-tone Lewis hose, the bottle green cuff with the blue leg, with a black watch kilt?
Sure. That's why we did it.
The modern colors, with the navy.
Yep.
Yeah, that work. Mm-hmm. The question is, what flashes do you want to wear? I think, and if it were me, I'd probably go simple and go with like black,
Red.
Well, red is traditional.
Red's the military thing, but
so
you're wearing non-traditional kilt hose. I would either do red. I'd have to see how it looks, or I would do black because it's not in the bottle green cuff or the navy leg, or I would do.
That's what I was thinking.
Where I would do bottle green flashes with the bottle green cuff on the navy leg, so the flashes would still stand out against the leg.
Okay, like the cuff is melting.
Exactly, dripping into points, into chevron points.
Yeah, like stalactites. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, go for the hose.
The notch on the bottom of the flashes.
Uh-huh.
You know what that's called?
No.
It's a chevron cut.
Oh, chevron. Okay. Yes.
Yep. It's
yes.
just basically an upside down V.
That comes from Heraldry.
Yes.
Yes.
I knew that too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know as much Heraldry speak as I used to years ago. I used to know a lot more of it. I used to know all the colors.
Yeah, I had a little bit of it. I know rampant and like all the different,
Right.
I know rampant, obviously because of rampant lion. But what's the one where it's like 3 feet down and 1 foot up and?
That one I don't remember. There's passant, which is where it's lying down.
Yeah.
There's proper, where it's drawn is it lifelike instead of just a color, which is what you see a lot of the time on Scottish clan crests, actually. That would say, like, a lion proper, in meaning if you draw it, you're supposed to make it realistic, not like purple. And then regardant is, I think, when it's looking over its shoulder. But I don't remember the one where it's just like all 3 legs up and 1 down.
Random tangent. Mac may actually know these things. You may know as well. You know weird facts.
Thanks.
For statues of war generals and heroes and
You're
whatnot.
going to Gettysburg on this, aren't you?
I'm going everywhere, buddy. I am everywhere. When the horse has all 4 feet on the ground of a statue versus 1 foot up versus 2 feet up. Do you know what those mean? This could be complete BS, but I believe it's fact.
It works in Gettysburg National Military Park, except for one. When they added the Longstreet Monument a few years ago, that is the only one that does not follow suit to what I'm
about to say.
Yeah.
So I've heard that there was a code. I do not remember what it is. What I don't know is it specific to Gettysburg then, Matt?
Yes.
So it's not other.
Yes.
Okay.
And that probably means that all the statuary that's there, except for the recent one, was produced at the same time under the same aegis of some director saying, "Here's what you're gonna do."
Okay, so I'm about to lie to everyone because I thought.
No, you're not lying. You're not lying. It's
specific to Gettysburg. I knew that it was specific to Gettysburg. All feet on the ground meant he died of natural causes.
Right.
One was he died as a result of a wound suffered in battle. 2 feet up means he died in battle.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Is that it?
Close.
Damn it. Just say it's correct, Matt. They won't know. We'll edit it out.
You're not allowed in Gettysburg now. Yeah.
I've lost my Gettysburg card.
Yeah, you lost your Gettysburg card.
I'm not even allowed to.
All right, come on, level. I want to get some questions.
So I believe it works. He
believes. I'm wrong.
I forget which order it is in.
Mm-hmm.
4 legs down, they survived. 1 was they were 1 up was wounded. 2 up was mortally wounded.
Oh, okay. So it's not.
Wow.
Okay.
Semantics, potato. I'm good. I know everything. Especially about statues in Gettysburg National Park. Okay. Random tangent. Sorry about that. Nothing to do with kilts.
I was about to say, that's...
Mac, next question.
So, Sean is asking
Lead us from the darkness.
Sean is asking a question that maybe some soldiers have to deal with. Is how to break in your belt. What is any recommendation for curing the stiffness of a belt besides beating it on a rock?
Wear it.
Wear
your kilt.
Just wear it.
Wear it a bunch. Wear it often.
Drag it behind your car.
Beat it against random strangers. Leave the buckle attached though for maximum impact.
Yeah.
There's no good way to break in a belt aside from wearing it. I haven't found any. I will say this: the belts that we carry have Velcro on the inside as opposed to the internal little tiny buckle thing, so they tend to be a little bit more difficult to break in because you're breaking in leather as well as the Velcro. And especially for embossed ones, they are very, very good quality leather, so it's more difficult to break in. And they're not around a part of you that flexes a ton.
Yeah, it's not like a belt that's resting on your hips.
Yeah, it's not like your sporran where you're going into and out of it and that kind of thing. You're not breaking it in with your hands. It's just wrapping around you and hugging you in like a corset.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something to that. It's really, different people have different tricks. Like some people will say, treat it with saddle soap or do something,
needs foot oil or something. But
yeah, get
then it's going to stretch to a small degree.
Yeah, maybe. But, you got to suffer for your art sometimes. So.
I would also be concerned, specifically with the needs foot oil thing, if you put any kind of oil substance
You don't wanna
to
get that
break
on
in
the
the belt.
kilt.
You don't want to get it on the kilt because you're gonna
Nope.
sweat. It's gonna heat up, and it's going to, be right against the belt. I wouldn't do
Yep.
it.
Yep.
I just wear it and look shiny and new.
Right. Give it to your 12-year-old son, and let him wear it out. Out in the yard every day.
Tarzan vines with it on
Yep.
the trees.
Yep.
There you
That'll
go.
do it. Yep. That'll do it. Turn it into a swing. That's it. Turn it into a kid swing for a summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else could you do with it to break it in?
Stitch a bunch of them together and make them the belt on a threshing, a 19th century threshing machine.
Yes,
Power,
or get
power
the
a mill with
what's
it.
the high-low motor, or what are they called, Mac? The old farming motors.
Like the hit and miss engines.
Hit miss
Hit and
engines.
miss.
Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
Yeah. Hit and miss engines with kilt belts. No, none of that.
Celtic
Just wear it.
embossed industrial machinery. Yeah. So sorry, I
The
can't give you a better
fanciest
answer.
farm
but
equipment.
Yes, but
Very good, Mr. Mac.
All right, so we have Tim.
thanks for all the questions, guys. By the way,
Yeah,
so
we're
yeah.
not going to get on it
we
to
may
any of
not
ours.
get to any of the preloaded. Yeah.
Well, Tim just came in with what is the best vest to wear with a great kilt? He's looking for a look that looks like he'd be out of the 18th century.
18th century
That's what he said, 18th century.
with a waistcoat.
17th, whatever. It's old timey.
Yeah.
A standard off the peg vest,
Is not going to look 18th century.
none. A chieftain's vest, but you got the tails and the little things
Yeah,
going around.
a
That are,
chieftain's vest is essentially a modern invention that looks sort of like a doublet
yeah,
from the 17th, 18th centuries. Sort of, kind of. It's playing off of military fashions also, but does he mention the context? Like, is this for fair or for daily wear about town? Or feel free to chime in if you heard that. But yeah, it's not 18th. And the other thing is that keep in mind that 18th century waistcoats are not waistcoats like we think of. A lot of time they had tassets on the front. Sometimes they weren't complete in the back. They were laced up the back sometimes, kind of like a woman's corset.
or sides. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's a very different animal. I would say if you're going for a casual wear in the modern day kind of look, where we have a lot of guys doing this now, then any old vest will do fine. But that's also given the assumption that you're wearing the Great Kilt only down around the waist and doing the flowing in back of you kind of look, not bringing it up over your shoulder. Once you get to the point where you're trying to bring it up over your shoulder, nothing's really going to work right from a modern context. Not really.
I would say this: flat bottom would probably do better than the peaked on the bottom of the
yeah,
vest.
the thing I'm imagining
And-
it's going to be the kilt's going to wind up on the outside of the vest.
I know.
So
The other things I would think of were maybe like Gentleman's Emporium or like a Western reenactment style store.
that's going to be
Maybe
all
a double-breasted vest.
that could look cool in a steampunky kind of way.
Yeah,
but not,
if he's wearing a great kilt today, if he's not going to fair, then it's just something fun. I'm just thinking of things that would
Yeah, if
look
it's-
right
if
together.
it's just for fun for daily wear, then I wouldn't even worry about it. If
So
you're-
he's saying for reenactments is what he's looking at.
historical reenactment.
That's what I'm gathering.
What would
then-
Jamie Fraser do?
Well, he wouldn't be wearing just the waistcoat. Is the thing. He would have the waistcoat and the jacket on, and the
The
Great Kilt
sleeves,
is going to be going to come up over on top of the jacket.
Or he'd have a sleeved waistcoat.
Yeah,
Not just
Mac-
a waistcoat.
Of all of us here, Mac has the most experience with 18th
Yeah,
century
bring
clothes.
yourself
So
in there
do you
and-
have any other?
Talk all about it, Mr.
Yeah.
Mac. Pontificate.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on really what the look he's going for, but a lot of them are going to have just the regular, I would say a sleeved waistcoat is the best option. And
It's
it
the
looks like a
easiest.
jacket,
Yeah,
but it's just got sleeves. That's kind of where I would lean.
Okay.
More of a shorter, and then have like a workman's jacket over top. So
Okay.
there's Canucks Corner, which produces some vests
Mhm.
patterns, which would be good to use, but
Grandfather shirt, maybe?
No,
No?
that's not period. Not for 18th century.
Okay.
Yeah,
We recommend Cant's Corner and Townsend's usually if you're looking for historical, accurate historical pieces like that. So that's look at the shirts and stuff there. I'm not sure that Townsend's offers a sleeved waistcoat. If Corner does, then great.
yeah. Canucks Corner does. The other place to go would be Henry Cook. He's a curator up in Massachusetts. He's worked at the new museum in Philadelphia, the American Revolution.
Oh, great.
Museum. He's done a lot. He made a lot of the garments that are on the statues in the museum.
Okay.
But his patterns are spot on.
Okay.
I've got a few of his that I've got to eventually make, but yeah, I would say check out him.
So what we're talking about is more than just doing a pieces part off the peg kind of a thing, than doing a little research into what the Highland regiments in the 18th century were wearing and trying to emulate that, essentially. And then finding the pieces which are the standard uniform pieces and finding either the pattern to make it yourself, or getting the pattern to have somebody who sews make it for you, or buying it from a sutler, and going that way, essentially. Yeah, and there's lots of guys who do Highland Regiment reenactment that you can hopefully ping for information.
Yeah, and depending on where you're located, Fort Frederick does a market fair the end of April, I believe, which is a good spot to go find some of the stuff. Unfortunately, I never get a chance to go there, but it's I hear it's pretty awesome.
Cool. It sounds like a fun project, though, so good luck with it.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Erik, let's do some of the preloaded ones.
Oh, okay.
Get to our backlog of queries.
All right. Here's a classic one. This is basically similar to a question we had earlier, but Charles Driggers was saying he's a classic American mutt. He's part German, part English, part Scot, part Native American, you name it. He's got Robertson on his father's side and Lorimer on his mother's. Meanwhile, his wife is a MacAllister. So we always say that you can basically wear whatever kilt you want, but is it really appropriate for him to wear the Robertson tartan? Is that it's on his father's side, so I think we're going to say yes. But he's got some of the other choices in there.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a no-brainer.
Yeah, effectively the exact same answer that we gave before, which was yes. It's the American thing. In Scotland, they would say go through your paternal line, or just pick the one that you like, stick to that one. Yeah. The American thing is more, so we want to wear the ones that we like, multiple tartans to represent different parts of our family, different parts of our heritage. There's no wrong answer. It is your journey. It is your heritage. It is your, thing that you're trying to express. Mm-hmm. So whichever you're more comfortable doing, have at it.
And in your case, I would say there's nothing wrong with picking up a MacAllister at some point too. If you want to honor your wife's heritage and it'd be fun for you to wear it sometimes, then you can do that.
Yeah,
go for it.
The only caveat is don't cross the streams. Don't wear a MacAllister cap badge and kilt pin with your Robertson kilt. Just stick to Robertson for the sake of Robertsons and MacAllisters for the sake of MacAllisters.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
Ta-da. All right. This question came in over a comment on YouTube. A guy named Joseph was saying, I really think a lot of the kilt etiquette out there is obsessive and not realistic. It's fine if all you're doing is standing around the beer table at the games, but there's too little consideration of functional use. I work in my kilt, I wear sports socks, and I constantly find that my kilt is down at the bottom of my knee, and even a little lower because I'm moving and I'm climbing around, not just standing around trying to look good. So he's asking, what do we think of that? Is it, or do we protest too much? I feel a little bit called out here.
I would draw the immediate and direct parallel to pants and shirts. If you're in the office, up and down out of your chair and wearing a dress shirt, it's gonna get untucked or, poofied out at the bottom by 5 o'clock. If you start your day with your polo shirt tucked in and you're walking around, it's going to start getting you're going to have to, your thing may move. You may get a little sweat stain. Your pants may fall down. You have to, pull them up a little bit, tighten the belt, whatever. Life is life. You're out there living, doing things, moving, no matter what kind of clothing you're wearing, whether it's a kilt, whether it's pants, whether it's, lederhosen, doesn't matter. Well, they have suspenders. But anyway, doesn't matter. You're still going to have to kind of adjust yourself. As you walk past the mirror, don't be a slob. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh, my tie's a little bit crooked. There we go. Done. You got to sort yourself out throughout the day. I don't know anyone that, gets dressed in the morning and super glues their clothing on so it doesn't move. And you got to sort yourself out, fix yourself to make sure you look presentable and your best throughout the day. It always takes fine tuning. It always takes a little bit of tweaking.
Now I have a couple ways I can comment on this, but the first one is he basically saying that people into this stuff are just being too vain, that we're being dandies?
I would potentially, the other side of the coin is someone who's not caring about their appearance being too sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally the exact other side of the coin.
Yeah.
If someone wants to call me too vain for checking my appearance, but his kilt is halfway down his butt and his shirt's untucked and his tie is off, look in a mirror, dude.
Yeah.
It's yes, there is a certain measure of vanity to this, but it's how I'm presenting myself to the world. It's how I want people to see me. And if I look sloppy, they're going to think ill of that. I want to be comfortable in it.
I'll go further. Traditionalist that I am, I'd say you are representing Celtic culture, Highland culture, Gaelic culture to the world.
Indeed, so.
Which is why, like the outfit I have on now, I'd say might be appropriate for a clubbing or something, but I would not wear it to a function where I'm trying to present the heritage
to the world, like, a video on YouTube or something.
Yeah, I mean, who's gonna see this though?
Nobody. 7 people.
No, the other thing is, I don't think it has to be mutually exclusive. I mean, you don't have to defend being slobby because you're working hard. And my example for that is, look at the guys in World War I. If you're in the British military and you're in a kilted regiment in the trenches, you still look correct because you've got a sergeant and officers telling you to look correct. You're still working your ass off, but you've got things situated correctly and you're so used to doing it as a matter of course every single day that when things are starting to, shift, how to adjust them, how to put them on in the morning correctly so that they're cinched down correctly and at the right height and et cetera, et cetera.
And you feel when your pants are falling down throughout the day, you don't just go, oh, well, my pants are falling down, so now my butt's exposed. It's you pull your pants up.
Yeah.
It's part of life.
Yeah. And I think he mentioned sports socks. I think I've never had a problem with kilt hose. I don't opt for.
No,
unless he means compression socks, maybe. But
no, like socks falling down. I'll say this: I bought a pair of House Cheviot has a marled like Harris hose, which they stretch wider at the top. They do not grab my leg the same way that Lewis hose do and a lot of other hose do.
Okay.
So they fall down on me throughout the day.
Yeah.
Guess what I do? I'll give you one guess.
You put flashes on?
I pull them up.
Oh.
It's an amazing construct. Ooh. Opposable thumbs, pull them up. Done. Sorted. Finished. It's
okay.
It's not that tough. You just sort it throughout the day. If your shoes are untied, you tie your shoe. You don't leave it undone. I could parallel the hell out of this.
There's also a fit thing. I think guys are used to off the peg work clothes that don't necessarily fit great. I have jeans I have to hike up all the time because they're made to a peg size. They don't fit me, and I have to hike them up. A kilt that is custom made for me, it fits well enough. It doesn't fall down. So if you're dealing with a stock size garment, you may have to adjust it more during the day. If you're dealing with a custom made garment, like we are now used to, it's not as much of a problem.
Well, even not as much, but I'll say this. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
Let's say he's a bit rotund, has a bit of a belly in the front, and the Noastol disease, flat butt.
Yep.
Have
a bit of
in that case, yes, it could fall down a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then you just pull it back up, or you cinch it tighter around the widest part of your belly. If you think of yourself as a beach ball, not to be insulting, but if you think of yourself kind of as a pear shape or a beach ball, you wear the kilt above the widest part of the circle, and it won't fall down as much if you cinch it down tight around the widest part of you.
Right.
So that could be an issue. It could just be your general body shape. It could be the type of motion. If your job is doing jumping jacks all day, yes, your kilt's going to fall down more. But then you just
I think if you're doing jumping jacks in a kilt as your job, you have other larger issues.
That's true.
And I would consider
that would
looking
be a very,
for a
very
different
weird job.
Yeah.
How much would you get paid to do jumping jacks all day?
How much do the kilted yoga guys get paid?
They're kind of personalities, though.
True. I think yoga.
We should do our show with our shirts off. No.
I've been terrified for a long time now that he was going to suggest something exactly like that. You go first.
No, I'm all set. We want to keep our audience.
You know what's going to happen. We're going to get the comments now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about your sweater?
What about my sweater?
To get a razor?
My bear fur sweater? Yeah. Sorry, ladies. This is going to hurt your eyes.
then there's the glare. We'd have to adjust all the lighting in the studio.
Dude, there's no glare. My matted chest hair would
Oh,
definitely
what's
keep
the
the
glare
glistening of sweat, maybe, but that's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So anyway,
You're getting creepy real fast here.
we have a
sorry.
difference of opinion on this matter, perhaps. But I would say that just because you're working hard doesn't mean you can't look put together.
Yeah.
You know, and context is everything.
Yep.
You know?
No one's going to, I will say this, no one's going to fault you if you're running around doing something. You're literally like jogging across the street and your kilt slips down some. Where I would fault you is an hour later if it's hanging around the lowest part of your butt, if you're not pulling it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Context.
There you go.
That's the more you know.
That's the more you know is this one. We're working on a new context graphic. We're gonna
Okay.
put that together. Yep. So into the lesson.
We need like horns or something for it.
There you go. Whatever you want. We have a new
Horns,
designer.
sparkles, sprinkles.
Yeah, we have a new designer on staff. We can do anything.
Unicorns
She's gonna hate
galloping
me.
through. Now we're gonna think about
Coraline, we have a
obscure things.
small project for you. This will only take you a couple days.
Yes, make a unicorn gallop through the screen.
3D rendered, you know.
But behind us, but in front of the fire. No, okay.
Yeah.
Too much.
And we want to have it talk.
Yes.
It's like, hey, rookie. Yeah.
No, like Snapchat. We'll do the whole episode as like unicorns or rainbow mouth or whatever those things are.
Unicorn because it's Scottish. I'd go with that.
Okay,
So
fair.
one unicorn and one rampant lion. Snapchat filter.
Lion.
Or dragon for Wales. But, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys.
Tangents.
Yeah. Thank you for sticking with us. Mac, did you have a question? Answer? You know? Maybe?
Well, we do have.
We have people saying, "What
people
the hell are you
concerned.
talking about?"
No, we've got Chris is yelling. Put a big no across there for the church.
For the topless thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Is this the Chris I think it is?
Chris Hills.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
I thought it was.
hey, Chris.
I thought it was Chris G. I was gonna say
The-
that Chris is posed topless, so he has no room to move. But Chris Hills, yes, we bow to your wisdom. I think you're absolutely correct.
He's gonna quit our mods group.
Yeah. I'm out.
I know too much.
Yo, peace.
We do have a couple people talking about or asking about registering a tartan. So we have one asking, what is the cost of registering a tartan, or what fees that there would be with that, and what is the process?
Sure. It's not tough. Anybody can register a tartan. You go to the ScottishTartanRegistry.gov.uk, I believe is the website, or tartanregister.gov.uk. And you log in, you create an account, and you're going to give them the details of the tartan. So they're going to want the thread count, the sequence, the numbers and the thread colors kind of thing. They're going to want to know if there's any meanings or rationale for the tartan. They're going to want to know what the name is, what category it falls under, whether that's name, personal, business, or corporate.
Yeah,
I think
corporate.
they're on. Yeah, there's like a bunch of different
Fashion.
weird categories.
Yep. Yep.
You submit all that stuff. You pay them, I think it's like 80 quid or 90 quid, something like that, which is right now about 120, 130 bucks. They're going to take your money. Then they go away for a couple weeks. They send it to the likes of Brian Wilton, Peter McDonald, a bunch of the tartan scholars over in Scotland, show them the design and say, hey, is there anything else out there like this? They have the separate meeting of the minds where they all do their own little research, shoot it back and say, nope, it's an original design, great. And if it's nothing oddly named or there's nothing odd about it, they'll just give you the old rubber stamp, send you your certificate, and off you go.
Yeah, they're looking for certain points of difference between your design and existing tartans. I forget, you told me once what it is, like how many...
There's no magic number. It's
Okay.
really
In heraldry there is, but
yes,
in tartan...
it's the rough, does it look different enough from 10 feet? Is
Okay.
it, you can't
Okay.
take Royal Stewart, change, the middle thread count of the pivot of white, 6 white in the middle, change it to 7 or 8, and it's a new tartan. No, you can't do that.
Right.
It has to be a reasonable difference to register the tartan. And it has to be a name that they find acceptable to be able to register it.
Yeah, the...
Clan
a lot of
McEvil is the one that comes to
the
mind.
Clan McEvil is that's still your best example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
It was
ahead, tell us,
a group from the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair, basically just a loose group of friends who jokingly called themselves Clan McEvil. And Joel Noacker was the head of Clan McEvil. He's the guy who started it. We designed a tartan for him. We went to register it, and we registered it as Clan McEvil. And the register came back and said, no, you can't do that.
Right.
You can't say clan in the register and have it accepted.
Right.
So it went through as I think it was a corporate tartan, and we have quotes around clan to be able to get around their thing.
That's a really easy. That's actually a low bar though.
Yeah, pretty much.
In a way, you know what I mean? I think a lot of the information they're collecting is for historical purposes.
It's just recording it.
Yeah, you don't have to have a background. You don't have to have a meaning to all the colors. I mean, people will say like a tartan, the green stripes represent the forests of my homeland, and the blue stripes represent the river where my wife died. You don't need any of that. Most of that is lore. A lot of the times when you encounter a historical tartan, people will tell you their stories about what the threads mean, and it's not true. So you don't have to have some big, huge backstory or a bunch of documentation for your tartan. You just have to make sure that it is distinct enough.
Yeah, the original tartans had no meaning to them. The McDonald tartan was just like, like that one. Yeah. Okay, I'll call it McDonald.
Okay, done.
The earliest recorded example of a tartan with thread counts and colors meaning something was who was it? The Nova Scotia tartan up in Canada in 1953. That is the earliest recorded tartan that actually has color meaning and whatever.
Okay.
It's a thing now.
Yeah, very definitely.
Where I'd say almost everyone who weaves a tartan, I'd say 80+% of the people that design tartans and register them now have some kind of meaning ascribed to the colors. Yep. Our firefighter tartan, as an example, our firefighter tartan in the pivots, which is where the design flips, it's the mirror image of itself. And the one pivot is 343 for the 343 firefighters that died on 9/11. Now, that is a strong emotional, thing in the tartan. So there is meaning associated with it. It creates a deeper emotional connection with people to the tartan. But originally, there was no meaning. That looks pretty. I like that one.
Right. Was there a point I was going to make?
Sorry.
I was going to say the time frame actually is pleasing for me to hear, because I was assuming they would take months to hear back
weeks
from the gurus to make sure they approve it. So a few weeks is great.
There's only, if I had to guess an average, I'd say I get the emails from the register with all the new tartans that are coming out.
Okay.
So once a week, once every other week, there'll be a day where I'll get 10 emails of here's all the new tartans, and they're all like right in a row. So it's somebody just literally just monkey punching the stuff, approved in the computer. So I'm assuming the register is giving batches of designs to the different people to look up, research, make sure there's nothing nefarious about it, and then hand back to the register, and then the register just rubber stamps everything.
What I'm imagining now? I'm imagining this control room in Edinburgh Castle that's kind of like NASA, and you have all these guys in Highland dress with their tweeds and their balmorals and their kilts on with slide rules, and they're doing the Apollo 13 thing, like giving the guy the thumbs up as soon as they get the equation right. It's like, it's a go. The tartan may launch now.
It's much, much more disappointing.
Okay.
In reality,
it's not as dramatic as Apollo 13.
Nowhere near.
All right. Okay.
Looks fine. Well, I can't do a Scottish accent good. So they're all from the South.
It's better you do that than try a Scottish accent and mess it up like I do. So it's much more. You're more respectful in not trying.
I'm very respectful of everything. Yes, all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
That's my cornerstone.
There you go. So yeah, it's not hard to do. But you do want to make sure you have the design solid. You want to make sure you like it. Make sure you have looked at it for a long time. I always say put it on your refrigerator, like the color printout, and just leave it there on display, so that like 6 months from now you don't come back, well, even just a few weeks, come back and like, I don't like it as much as I thought I did.
Now you can amend it, but they would charge you to amend it.
That's good to know. That's good to know. So you can change it on the fly.
Yeah, sort of? I had a design Irish Heritage. I designed at the same time as American Heritage, same time as a bunch of others, back in the 2005, I believe. And I never had it woven. And then when I eventually went to have it woven, I was like, this design isn't really that good. So I tweaked it and sent them an email and said, okay, hey, just so you know, this tartan is different. It's from way back when. I never did it. This is what the design is now. And they emailed me back and said, okay, we can record that. It's going to be $100. And I was like, nope.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't worth it to you, but
nope.
if it's an important emotional project for a group, that would be worth knowing that they have the
Yeah,
option
but
if something goes wrong.
I was more annoyed because the point of the register, when the Scottish Tartan World Registry and the STA got together and said, look, we want to push for a governing agency, for an official government body to do this. Their point, the purpose is to record existing tartans and catalog them for eternity so that there is an existing record of tartans.
So why do you have to pay twice?
So, well, not necessarily why do I have to pay twice, but my point is like, but the design was never woven, and this is what I am marketing as this thing, as the designer. This is what it is now.
Okay.
And they're like, well, just pay us more money. And I'm like, no, you're wrong now, because it was never done. This is what it is. So
you're paying them for the privilege of amending
a design that I never did, which I
Right.
paid them for originally.
and they would and you're paying them for the privilege of them correcting their own database.
Yes.
Okay, so they don't look wrong. That is kind of weird. Now you think about it. Yeah.
When you think about it from that angle, I get the logic of it. It's, no, we're doing work, so pay us money. My logic is, but your database, which you want to be right as the register, is now wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So here's how to make it right. Pay us money. No. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Anyway, go for it.
Indeed. Shaggy dog. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we're very shaggy today.
It's all good. Shirtless and all.
Yeah, sure. Image burned into my head. Burned
Now we
into
have to
my mind.
Photoshop sexy models. We just put our heads on
I
them.
did that. I did the romance novel cover one
Yes.
with us with the fair maidens and the flowing hair and everything.
We need to get
Haven't had the flowing hair in a long time.
we gotta get those shirts with the muscles painted on.
Mm.
That's what we'll do a whole episode in that.
You just need the Aber 2000. That's a throwback to a Homestar Runner for those of you who know what the hell I'm talking about. Aber 2000. I'll send you a link. Sorry, Mac. Too much scotch, not enough sleep.
Well, here's a new twist on one. So we have Erik asking, making a sporran match the animal or animals from the area of Scotland your clan comes from. Is that too much, or is that something that isn't necessarily
It's a
thought
neat
of?
idea.
Yeah, it's a neat idea. It's not done.
I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, most sporrans in Scotland are made of seal, and frankly, most of it's actually imported from Canada.
Wouldn't you say most of them are bovine anymore? But
Not in Scotland.
really,
No,
They
'cause
still...
if you figure, how many people own sporrans
Okay.
and have owned them. In Scotland, there was a period of about 5 years-ish in, let's say, I'm going to guess, educated guess, but let's say 2011 to 16 or 12 to 17, somewhere in there,
Okay.
where bovine became illegal, but then
Wait, what? You mean seal became illegal?
there you go. Seal
Okay.
became illegal. Basically, the EU banned sealskin, and then the Inuit Indians in Canada were kind of up in arms saying, this is literally our livelihood. We have nothing else. You're killing us. So they lobbied to allow it to, go back into usage over in the EU, and Scotland and the UK still being in the EU were, subject to that. So then when it was allowed back in, they were allowed to start making sporrans from seal again. However, each seal pelt, each animal actually had a serial number. So you can, and that has to be either on the sporran or some kind of documentation where you can actually trace the sporran back to the original animal and to where it was harvested from. So that way it's not poachers and that kind of stuff. And they're doing it legitimately.
I'd still like to see the numbers. I feel like there's probably a lot of cow leather, cowhide sporrans out there. I wouldn't think a
Worldwide,
sporran-
yes.
Okay.
In Scotland, no, because sealskin is shiny. It's very, very hard wearing.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Bovine is great, but the biggest problem with bovine is you don't get a lot of gray cows. You either have black or white or black-white or speckled. So it's not as attractive a pelt.
But you're talking about modern dress sporrans. For the balance of history, sporrans have been leather.
Okay. Well, he's saying fur. That's why I was saying specifically I was going after fur.
So here's getting back to your original question, because we do care. I don't know how much variance there is in the wildlife from different regions in Scotland. So I'd be curious to know what pelt you're considering using, because red deer is pretty much common. boar,
Healing
probably,
coup.
yeah, healing coup. They're all over that whole country. I don't know if there's, I mean, maybe there's certain pockets where one is more prominent than another. But I think it's a cool idea. I think it's, I'd be curious to know what pelt you're considering, because it's more often that people want to go for something that has nothing to do with Scotland. They want to do something exotic like zebra or tiger pelt, or something that's really funky.
Talk about illegal.
Or you have, yeah, well, that's why they use the carpets.
Yeah.
But, and then you have, what's her name who does the roadkill sporrans? I can never remember her name, but there's an artisan,
Kate McPherson,
who does artisanal sporrans using things like pelts of animals that were killed by vehicles, or like pheasant.
So she's the one that does the feathered ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're gorgeous.
Not practical, but gorgeous.
Yeah, they are, and that those are native animals to Scotland, but they're still kind of fun because they're exotic, and they're works of art because they're exotic. So the idea of doing something that is a pelt from your home country, that's a pretty cool idea. I don't think there's really a precedent for it other than historical necessity.
I would touch on this.
Yeah.
Since you went on to the feather thing and talking about the red stag and things like that, it also depends on the pelt. Red stag is very, very thick, and it's difficult to sew through. Healing coup, it has a more wiry hair, and it's easier to sew through. Seal is very easy to sew through. So the actual functionality or functional process of making a sporran could be impeded, or the outcome could be not as good with certain furs versus other furs. Bovine's easy, and real fur that isn't super bushy is easier than ones that are, like just snowballs on your crotch.
But you could do a decorative. You could do a decorative piece on the front of the functional sporran, perhaps. So even sewing through it. Well, it also depends on how you sew the gusset. If you sew the gusset in plain black leather, it's a little bit easier, but you're still sewing through like a good chunk. So you have to like shave it down, and then you have to be careful that the shaved down section isn't on the facing of the sporran. So there's logistical things to consider when doing it as well. I think it's a neat idea, though.
I don't disagree. I think it's a neat idea.
It's got me thinking about other things to do, like if you got like some granite from a mountain that your clan castle was on, and you get somebody to turn
my sporran's made of granite.
No, the bells for the tassels.
There's actually a guy that makes
polished granite.
There's a guy that makes granite cantles.
That's awesome.
Must be freaking heavy.
Yeah, but it's
and
super
brittle.
Cool. Yeah, but it's a dress sporran. I don't know.
It looks neat.
It's worth a try.
The ones that I've seen look neat,
cool.
But it's very there's something. It's either going to be too brittle or too heavy or both.
Okay.
I would be nervous, and they're not cheap because he's hand tooling granite.
Right.
Right. Or whatever it is, soapstone or something. But I can't imagine wearing it and being concerned about dropping it and having it crack and then done.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
If you have to ask, it's too much. Anyway.
Mr. Mac.
Alrighty, so we have James asking, he's designed a tartan.
Cool.
And he's looking to present/convince his English side of the family to adopt the tartan. Any suggestions, any thoughts on how he should present it to him?
If you're trying to get a full bolt woven, then I would potentially take it to them first and say, hey, I'm going to weave this tartan I've designed. Does anyone else want some of this fabric? You got to be careful about death by committee. Anytime you take a design in front of a group of people and say, what does everyone think? You will get 100 opinions, and none of them will gel with yours. So if it were me personally, what I would do is come up with my best design, make sure it looks good, maybe run it past, a couple friends or, people who are disinterested in the actual design the reason behind it. And then once I know that it's good, I've lived with it for a couple days, I love it, then register it, then take it to them and say, hey guys, I did a design, here it is, I'm having it woven, does anyone want in? And go from there. Don't try to bring too many people into the process. That is where projects stall, is when you try to have too many chefs in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. If you're concerned about like the geopolitical ramifications, like they're English, are they actually going to care about it? I'd be optimistic. I think, especially if you're talking about family here in the States, tartan is Scotland's gift to the world, and especially here in America, we just love tartan for the beauty of it itself. And I doubt you're going to find people who say, well, I'm not Scottish, I can't do anything with that. They may be less interested in wearing a kilt. They'll probably think the tartan is cool and the idea of a tartan is cool, but don't be surprised if you have more people interested in a necktie
or a vest
or something than in wearing the kilt.
Trues.
That might be that'd be probably where it might morph a little bit if you have very heavy English ancestry in the family and they're really into it. If they're average American people like I know, they'll just be into it because they're into it.
Yeah,
so.
It's if money is no object, then I would say please yourself, make it a design you want, and go forward with it, and then let the chips fall where they may. But it's going to be a little bit more expensive if nobody else wants to jump in. Now, if money is a big concern and you need other people's opinions, good luck. But then search out a few people and have a smaller committee and get their opinions on it, and then maybe head of household, or if the mom that's your cousin of that household is English and she's going to be the one that's going to go in on it with you, then get her involved in it. Or if your brother John wants to do it, then great, get him involved, but keep that circle small. Yeah. The more people you involve, the more issues there's going to be.
Yeah. And if you have advocates who are really well connected with the rest of the family, and get them on board so you have a cheerleader when you go to present it to the group at large. Say, I asked John, and John, thinks this is awesome, and everybody loves John. Helps have allies.
John's a great guy.
John is awesome.
Everybody
loves that guy.
Dude, John is so awesome.
Especially, you remember that time at the reunion last year?
Oh, he was a wild man with the chandelier
awesome.
and the scotch.
Yep.
John is a nut.
Total nut. How would you like to do a question?
Have another one.
Okay. This is a delicate subject. I think people really care about this. Guy who goes by the name of This and That on the YouTubes, and this actually a few other people backed him up on this with the question of, how do you handle the kilt lifters? Like, what do you do when people try to lift your kilt uninvited? For example, women at the pub asking if you're regimental, and then whether you answer or not, just trying to lift your kilt up to check for themselves. How do you handle that?
The age-old question.
It is.
Of the drunken female and or drunken male wanting to check underneath your kilt.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this. It depends on several things. A, the point in time in my life. When I was in my mid-20s wearing kilts, single, at the bar, while drinking, and attractive women come up to me and want to interact with me and check, I was a lot less concerned about it. Now that I'm older, curmudgeonly, married, with children, and hate everyone, the antisocial, as it were.
I like how married came further down that list.
Yeah.
I am old and curmudgeonly first.
I like how you didn't say unattractive.
But I'm more annoyed by that than anything. Yeah. It's the gall of people that think that they're entitled to check my underwear situation or my undercarriage based on some notion that you're not supposed to wear underwear and they have a right to do so. Drives me crazy.
Or the assumption that because you're wearing the kilt, therefore you must be regimental, and therefore that also means you want the attention. There's like an implied
she was asking for it kind of thing, or he was asking for it.
It's not as horrific as that, but it is in the same vein for sure.
Yeah.
So that's those assumptions.
Yeah.
So what do you do? I mean, in the heat of the battle, what do you do?
It depends on the situation. If I'm in a bar, it depends on where you catch them. If I catch them coming at me, I would literally grab their hand. I have pretty good reflexes. Ask my son. We do karate, and he tries to hit me all the time. I'll grab their hand and stop it, be like, nah, and just move their hand away. Mm-hmm. If they persist, I'll be like, you gotta go. Or ask the bartender, can you remove them? They're trying to grab my junk. Mm-hmm. if it's, if somebody just lifts the back without my knowledge because I'm turned another direction, I would probably just brush it off and just give them the eye and turn around and walk away kind of thing. Because I don't feel like dealing with it. It doesn't really happen to me, the actual checking outside of alcohol situations.
Yeah.
If I'm at the Wawa getting lunch, people will ask me general questions about the kilt. Occasionally they're like, "Oh, you wearing underwear?" Like, I don't know. Are you?
Yeah. Right.
But outside of drinking alcohol, it doesn't happen often.
I think it's definitely alcohol related.
Oh yeah, there's definitely beer
the
muscles.
The inhibitions come down.
Yep.
So yeah, and again, I think people think that they think you're giving them an invitation just by wearing the kilt sometimes. I'll definitely call them on it. The degree to which I do will depend on like you said, the situation,
the severity of the situation.
If it's somebody a little bit, like an acquaintance, then you might soft pedal a little bit. But I have no qualms about, somebody's being rude like that to me in public, just
laying into them,
loudly saying, "Look, would you like this? Like if I did something like this to you, do you really think this is appropriate?" No, I don't think so. And public shaming can go a long way.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think in some cases it should, because even when I was younger, I was not into that. I'm very touchy about people trying to force me into doing things, and that kind of falls into the category of that. Don't try to drag me somewhere. Oh, it's gonna be fun. Come on, it'll be great. No, I hate that. So I want people to, even back then, even when I was like 22, I want people to respect my personal space. So yeah, I'd say public shaming is appropriate. Yeah,
I like your line of if a guy walks up to you and says, "Oh, what are you wearing underneath the kilt? Why, are you looking for a date?" Go back at them verbally, have a couple, ready to whip out, boom, and slam them down kind of thing.
I have that the blog entry on the website where I touch on this, and what I say is it's scalable. You can be delicate and gentle with smacking them down, and some of the responses, like I don't always like these, but give me your hand, is one where you call them out, like they're not serious, and you call their bluff.
Yeah.
And then there's the more severe, direct, stop, no, you're wrong. And you just gotta gauge the situation.
Yeah.
Every time, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's personal comfort. If you are comfortable with people exposing you at a bar, then it's not right, but that's your comfort level. If you don't want people to touch you, then tell them, nah, it's not cool. Knock it off. And you just have to get real serious real quick and give them the hairy eyeball. But it's all about your comfort level.
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. There's no wrong answer, but there is scalable answers.
Scalable anger.
What? Matt?
Yeah, we have one guy on here, Sam, saying that he wouldn't do anything because his wife would take care of the problem.
That's a really good point.
There's
too.
that.
I was thinking that a lot of the time, if you are visibly uncomfortable with what's happened, you'll have allies. You'll have people there who are like, "Yeah, what the hell are you doing? Who do you think you are?" You'll have.
Even the person's own friends.
Yeah.
Will especially if it's a guy, especially if he's drunk at a bar, coming up, trying to go under your kilt. And if you say to him, "What are you doing?" His friends will often pull him back and be like, "Dude, knock it off. That's not cool."
Yeah. Or gals. Yeah. It's just So again, I think I'm not saying make a scene, but don't
make a scene.
Don't
lay into them.
Yeah, but not like a crazy scene. You know what I mean? Don't be like, "Oh my god," and jump up on the bar.
I
and
will
start
stab
screaming,
you.
But, yeah. I'm in the Klingon stuff, so it's like
Who has touched the rear end of Thor? No.
That just went really weird.
Random.
But yeah, no, I agree. A lot of time there'll be people on either side of the situation who will come to your defense.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah. Should we do another one?
Yeah, sure. Let's have at it.
We got 5 minutes?
Yeah, 1 or 2 more.
Okay. Here's a much lighter one. Rich Doherty was asking us, what do you think about organizing your stuff? I've got 2 belts now, 2 buckles, 2 sporrans, kilt pins, etc., etc. I'm just going to be collecting more. How do you organize all your kilt stuff at home?
Sounds like you're just getting started.
Yeah, seriously. But it can get to be a mess. So.
I have a little, for kilt pins, I have a little jewelry box. It's just basically just a box with a lid. Just throw them all in there. For kilt belts and buckles, I actually have 4 belts and buckles, and I generally have a belt for each buckle.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Because the buckles, depending on the design, have the hook and the D-ring further apart on the back, so it won't quite fit as well or whatever. And I have in my closet, I have a hanger that comes down and splits off into a bunch of different things coming out. It's actually a tie rack.
Tie rack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just hook my belts, the D-rings, onto the ends of the tie rack things.
That's
Just
cool.
let them hang in the closet.
That's a neat idea.
Hang all my kilts in the closet. Yeah, just like you would normal clothes. My sporrans, this probably isn't a good idea, but I do it anyway. Sporrans, I leave the sporran chain or the strap on, and I have hooks on the wall in my closet, and I just connect the back and hang it from there. So over time,
I could see that, but I could see it would warp the leather
on the back
where
Yeah.
the chain passes through.
Yep.
So I don't think I would do that.
Or you can leave it in the sporran box that the sporran comes in, or a box that you have at home.
If it's a dress sporran, I do recommend that.
Yeah,
Keep
and
it
just
separate.
put it in the
Yeah.
box, and then stacking the boxes up in the closet on the shelf.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily that organized, but similar to what you do. First of all, the kilts go on kilt hangers. And what I will sometimes do is, if I have matching flashes that go with a kilt, I will fold them together with the elastic and then put the elastic of the flashes up into one of the clips on the kilt hanger also. So the flashes are basically stuck there with the kilt. Easy to grab when I put the kilt on. For my belts, I have several belts, and most of them have a buckle that I prefer with that belt, so I don't change them around too often.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually have an unused window in my bedroom, and there's a curtain rod there. So I actually flip the belt over the curtain rod with the buckle hanging in front. So I have like this display of buckle, all the belts in a row. I'll have to try and take a picture of it. It's really brutally primitive, but it's easy. I just grab it right off in the morning. It's super fast. Sporrans, I have more sporrans than I have chains. So I tend to keep the chains separate, and I have the sporrans laid out in a drawer in my dresser so I can just see them.
In fairness, my favorite two sporrans, my daily wearers, like this one and my brown one, I have downstairs where I keep my keys and stuff. It's right on the counter, and there's a cabinet above it. I just wrap the strap around it and keep one in the cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Kilt hose. That's my sticky wicket one.
Big,
I have
long, bulky socks.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
more drawers than I'd care to admit of kilt hose. And what I end up doing is I hate wrapping the cuff, like doubling it back over itself.
Really?
Because it tends to stretch the cuffs on some.
Okay.
So what I end up doing is taking the kilt hose and just doing a half knot or a full knot, like loose full knot, and
Interesting.
just putting them in the drawer. I don't care if they're balled or not.
Okay.
As long as they're two together. I usually come to work at like 5 a.m, so my wife is still sleeping, and I use my little cell phone flashlight to get my kilt hose out to make sure they're matching.
I've
so
done that.
that's difficult to do in the dark.
In the
and
dark.
I really don't feel like coming to work with one blue and one green kilt hose on. So yeah,
I'm
there's
party
that.
colored today. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's similar. It's I think IKEA's got a lot of good options for this stuff, especially if you like to have things divided in a drawer like I do. They have these little nylon bin things you can use. There's a lot of options like that. Another option is from IKEA is those shoe shelves, where it's a long fabric rectangle with shelves made out of cloth inside it.
And you hang them in the closet.
You hang it in the
or
closet.
door.
That's a great way to store sporran. You just like sporran. I've had an upper section of one of those I use kilt hose for, but I do ball them with a cuff like you don't like to do. But I have ancients in one slot, and then modern palette in another. Yeah. So
Nice.
there's lots of different ways to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do one more.
Sure. Okay. You want an easy one or a hard one?
What one I can geek out about?
Geek out, huh?
Geeking out.
Geeking out.
Kilt geeks, beware.
Well, I'm gonna have to flip the page then, which I know you don't like me to do.
It's
but
going to page 2.
Yeah. If you want to really geek out about it, let's see. Let's talk about the mechanics of sporrans.
Okay.
So we're talking about accessories. We had a couple of different questions which are kind of related. We had Cameron and we had Kevin. Cameron, the way he put it was, he's got 2 sporrans, but they're not quite large enough. Is there actually a standard for the dimensions of a sporran? And if not, what do you feel is an acceptable limit for a sporran before it looks ridiculous? Kevin, on a similar vein, was saying, how wide are the openings on most sporrans? I have large hands, and I find it awkward for me to reach into a lot of sporrans because the mouth is too narrow. So
Okay.
He would prefer a sporran that's really wide, like even like 6 inches wide. It's an opening, which seems
the majority are about that.
okay.
How
did the sporran develop? I mean, from a technical standpoint, like that, modern sporrans.
I don't want to go into all that. That's going to be another.
You said you wanted to geek out.
You've given me 2 questions.
Okay.
I have a hard time remembering anything.
Sporrans and sporran openings.
Yes.
Go.
Sporrans, typically a day sporran or a semi-dress sporran. It's like a sideways D shape. They're going to be about 7 inches or so across and about 8 inches tall. That's the general size, and it fits well on most guys. Kids' sporrans are smaller because kids are smaller. Women who want to wear sporrans, especially with a mini kilt, I tend to wear a larger kid sporran, not a full-size man sporran, because it looks too big. It's not proportionate to the person and to the front of the kilt. A slightly bigger sporran might look okay on a real big guy, but if I'm just a normal-sized guy with abnormally large mitts, a large sporran or somebody who carries a lot of stuff in their sporran, if you try to make it too big, it's going to look weird on the front of the kilt. It's going to be too much. But yeah, the one anecdote I would give is it depends on the sporran maker. Some sporran makers use stiffer leather or leather board or that kind of thing, and some have a deeper gusset than others do. There was a company in Canada called L&M who makes sporrans, or at least used to. I think they still do. And back in the mid-2000s, 2007, 8, 9, something like that, we used to buy sporrans from them. The one complaint I would always have with their sporrans is the room between the front panel of the sporran, which was very, very stiff, and the back panel of the sporran, the depth of the gusset was not that deep. It was like 1.25 inches. So you couldn't fit much in the sporran.
Yeah.
And it was difficult to get your hand in to get the stuff out.
Okay.
And like on this sporran, you can still like push the back and the front panel and the back panel kind of flex a little bit. So you can actually expand it a little bit more. But theirs were, I remember, very, very stiff, and it was difficult to get in there and get to your stuff.
So is it more about the gusset than anything else then?
Potentially, if it's the size of the hand, if his hand is like thick this way, like on the knife edge, as well as wide, it's both. You want to make sure the sporran is wide enough to get your hand in there, but when you go in, you have to get your fingers around the item you want to get out and pull it out of the sporran.
Okay.
So if your hand is thick depth-wise, then it's going to be difficult to get in there and grab the stuff and pull it out.
Yeah.
Both depth-wise and width-wise.
My immediate thought would be, and this is a stylistic choice though, you may find that a traditional Rob Roy style bag sporran might be a little easier to deal with because it's flexible all the way around, the way the leather strips are put together into the bag, kind of like a basketball in a way. That might be easier to get a big hand in and out of. My other thought would be maybe this is where people start crafting or experimenting with sporran organizers, where you don't have to reach down with your big hands into the bottom to get your key, but you lift out the insert that has the stuff in it or something like that. You know what I mean?
I'm of two mind with sporganizers.
Sporganizers.
They were a little bit of a thing in the mid 2000s again, where a couple people were trying to organize them either as inserts into your sporran or like 27 different pockets on the inside, that kind of thing. It did help organize the pieces that went in there. The problem is that the sporran organizer took up room. Okay, and if
so
your sporran is already X dimension and you're putting more stuff in there, you're losing more room.
Gotcha.
It's just a matter of how you stick things in more logically. Like for me, I'll put in my cell phone with screen towards my body, face down towards the back of the sporran, and then I'll put in my wallet on the right-hand side and my keys on the left-hand side so that it doesn't, A, nothing scratches my phone screen, right, and B, it kind of sits in there nice and flat. I don't try to put them stacked up on top of each other. It's just a matter of how you organize it for your daily life. That being said, there is something to organizing the internals of your sporran, but it's a small, amount of space. It's not like you're carrying a women's handbag.
Right. I have a picture of a fashion shoot where they actually took it looks like a women's purse and turned it into a sporran because the photographer thought it looked cool.
I've seen there was a
It's
guy up at Celtic Classic
really
with that a
horrible.
couple years ago,
Yeah.
and it's just he had on his.
It rarely works.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say rarely. It's you're taking one thing that's designed for one thing and using it for something else, and it's not the thing. Don't make it a thing.
I'll give one other thought though as a workaround would be, unless it's a formal occasion, a dressy occasion, use a belt pouch. You don't have to carry everything in your sporran. There's other equipment out there you can use. Leather belt pouches, which come in a couple different sizes, can be a really good thing. It's quick on the draw for your cell phone or whatever, and can relieve some of the stress of having to deal with getting a big hand into a sporran.
I'll go another step further.
Oh yeah.
If it is a formal occasion.
Oh yeah. All right. Come on, lay it on me.
Inside pocket of the jacket.
Ooh.
Put your phone
That's
on the inside.
old school,
Put
bro.
your keys or your wallet on the other side. Don't carry a huge wallet if you're going to a formal function. You don't need much. Maybe a credit card, maybe a couple bucks for cash.
We
bar.
live in an age where a lot of guys, if not most guys, take their jackets off or don't even bother with jackets.
True.
But I would say if you're being a traditionalist and you're wearing proper gentleman's clothing, then you've got those jacket pockets to work with. So absolutely true.
Yeah. Very good. All right, boys and girls. It's about that time.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Mr.
No,
Erik?
just thank you for all the great questions today.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of engagement. We love you guys.
Yeah.
So, very good. Until next time, boys and girls, Slan Java.
Sanjava. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Obviously, if you enjoyed it, we'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. And if you do hit the subscribe button, make sure you ring the bell also so you get the notifications. If you want more Celtic content like this, remember we are also on Facebook at our Facebook page. We also run a Facebook group called Kilts and Culture, which has a lot of guys out there who are into Celtic wear just like you are. And we even have content going out on Instagram. So if you're ready for some Celtic stuff, join us there. It's a lot of fun. And thanks for watching.
We are everywhere, all the time.
And nowhere. We are Celtic ninjas.